When Dieter and Lagoses appeared, the latter's breathing was no longer steady. He stared at Dieter, who was looking at him solemnly. "You guy." Lagoses was shocked. He always thought that no one in the guild would be his opponent, not even Dieter, who was known as a genius. But the result was far beyond his expectations. This Dieter was able to keep up with his speed, and the so-called finger gun was much stronger than expected. He was hit in several places on his body. Although he was not punctured, he was still in pain. This is the first time he has been beaten to such a degree by his peers. "Lagoses, you are weaker than I thought." Dieter's expression was light, and the bang just now was nothing but physical activity for him. "Hee. I hope you will laugh again in a while." "ZZ," Lagoses sneered. Razor jumped on his earphones and on his hair, and a large number of thunder and lightning clouds were formed above Dieter's head. In the thundercloud, the razor swallowed clouds, and thunder and lightning were brewing. Thunder pressure and angry waves, ZZ. Boom. The thundercloud fell straight down, and the thunder dragon with thick wrists roared and crushed the opponent, about to tear the enemy to pieces. Paper painting. Dieter certainly wouldn't be hit. His body was as easy as a drawing on paper to control and dodge, and that flexibility also made the thunder dragon above his head fail. Boom. The thunder dragon failed to hit the enemy, and hit the ground as if angry, blasting open a pothole the size of a washbasin, and gravel fell everywhere. Thunder pressures angry waves. Thunder pressures angry waves. Thunder pressures angry waves. Lagoses continued to control the lightning to bombard Dieter. Dill's feet were blasted with big pits. He clearly never looked up at the angle of the thunder and lightning, but he still easily avoided all attacks. Furious Volt. Lagoses took the opportunity to release the move again, and a powerful high-voltage radio wave spread around him. When the radio wave touched Dieter's body, he was instantly paralyzed by the radio wave, and his body froze. Good chance. Lagoses sneered, and lightning bolted up in an instant, coming to Dieter in an instant. The jaw of Thunder Dragon. He clenched his fists and held them high in the air. The thunder dragon formed by lightning gathered in his fists and fell from the air like a roar. Boom. The terrifying force hit the ground. The smoke lingered, and the dust stirred up, shrouding the surroundings in dust. "Ha ha ha. I said you were not an opponent, but you still don't believe it," Lagoses laughed. This made the people watching the game a little worried. Could it be that Dieter lost? The dust slowly dissipated. In the eyes of everyone, there were spider web-like cracks extending under Lagos's feet, and the big pit in the center was several meters in diameter. The only thing that reassured everyone was the absence of Dieter. That's it. The sound came from the air. Everyone looked up. Dieter stood in the air, and the airwaves under his feet maintained the floating figure. "Damn it. You bastard." Lagoses was furious, and the ferocious face made the thunder arc on his body even more violent. Lightning jumps in the mouth. His chest swelled like air, aiming at Dieter in the air. Thunder dragons. Roar. Since then, Lagoses has used Thunder Dragon Slayer magic. The power was palpitating. 6 styles razor. Dieter in the air did not dare to be careless, and immediately used the fastest speed to flash away. Gangfoot. After landing, the body rotated, and the vacuum slashes shot out. But it's not over yet. Dieter didn't wait for Lagoses to make any movement, and pointed his hands at him. Flying Spear Finger 3 pulls. Biu, biu, biu. 3 consecutive air bombs were hit with the foot. Lagoses had just finished releasing his move, and he could only resist the attacking move. When those attacks hit him, he couldn't help groaning. These attacks were much more powerful than the previous ones, making Lagoses even more angry. Resisting the pain in his body, he rushed to the ground. The stone bricks under his feet were shattered by the force, and the speed was close to the limit. "I must beat you." Thunder dragons. Collapsing fist. The power of hatred, the electricity of the right fist Thunder Dragon covered the fist, desperately blasting this strongest power. It's over. Dieter's eyes didn't waver, his fists clenched with strength brewing. Watching the fist that carried the lightning strike, the muscles of the body tightened. Iron block. After using the iron block, the body's defense is enhanced, and it is as hard as steel. Boom. The chest and fist collided, and the lightning burst. The dazzling gaze covered the two, and the onlookers covered their eyes. 6 types of profound truth, largest wheel, 6 king's spear. A voice was faintly heard. The dazzling thunder and lightning can't make people see the battle situation clearly. It's so dazzling. Who won? I seem to hear Dieter's voice just now. It should be Lagoses. The power of the move just now can't be underestimated. No matter how strong Dieter is, I'm afraid he can't stop it. Dieter was too calm, and he dealt with it very well from start to finish. I'm afraid Lagoses will lose. The dazzling light lasted for a long time. When they opened their eyes again, they knew the final winner. Lagoses is defeated. Gray sighed, looking at the postures of the two sides in front of him, and already knew the end. Erza also shook his head. Lagoses is strong, but he is still weaker than Dieter. He was blocked by Dieter in the last move, and he took the opportunity to fight back. He may have been injured. Dieter took a step back, stretched out his hand to clean the shattered clothes, rubbed his chest and let out a heavy breath. Turn around and walk towards the guild. On the other hand, Lagoses kept the action for 3 seconds, and suddenly fell to the ground with both legs losing strength. Vomit, his eyes were bloodshot and he spit out blood, and his whole body shrank a lot. Before opening his mouth to speak, he fainted on the ground. 3 days later, the guild was lively again, and the injured Lagoses sat in the corner in confusion, out of tune with this prosperity. Another very calm is Dieter. Hey, Dieter, you're going to be announced as an S-class mage in a while, aren't you excited? Macau came to Dieter's side with a drink, and patted his back with open palms. Bang bang bang, Dieter grinned. I'm not excited. I heard that there are a lot of big fish at the pier at Magnolia in the past 2 days. I just want to go fishing quickly. Dieter complained. Kana, opposite Macau, was also drunk and dizzy. He hiccuped. I don't know happiness in the. Dieter rested his chin in a bored distraction. Other guild members also came to congratulate. I didn't expect Dieter to become an S-rank mage a few years after joining the guild. How amazing. I heard that the president had discussed with you when he met you. I didn't expect you to have such brilliant achievements. Yeah, now Dieter, you've really become the boss of your peers in our guild. From now on, all your peers will call you Big Brother, ha ha ha. The Fairy Tale Guild has another S-rank magician, which is very happy for the members of the entire guild, and they are all proud of Dieter. Over there Erza and Mirajane also stepped forward. I won't admit defeat. I've made a reservation for next year's S-class mages. Mirajane, dressed as a bad girl, made an oath as she stepped on the table. Erza reached out and pulled Mirajane off the table. Don't step on the table, and next year's S-rank mages belong to me. Ah? Natsu trotted over and warmly invited. Dieter, let's fight. Ask for contempt. Ah? You exhibitionists want to fight. Damn, it's fire-breathing brat. Silent. The guild was as lively as ever. Just as Gray and Natsu were about to fight, President Makarov showed up and berated him. All the guild members kept their mouths shut. This year's S-rank mage assessment has ended. Makarov swept over all the members of the guild with a small sweep on his back. His eyes finally fell on Dieter, and announced with a smile, and the person who became an S-rank mage this year is Dieter. Clap clap clap. The applause sounded, and the members of the guild applauded enthusiastically. Kudos to Dieter. Then let Dieter say a few words, Makarov invited. Surrounded by a group of people, Dieter scratched his head and walked to the guild leader. Time flies so fast. I have become an S-rank mage in the blink of an eye, and the days ahead are still very long. I hope everyone can make persistent efforts to maintain the reputation of our #1 guild. Dieter said, I hope you can abide by the Fairy Tale Guild rules, and we will work together in the future. Okay. Ewizen. Listening to your words is really a speech. Haha. Dieter didn't do his homework. Everyone in the guild laughed, and the rare opportunity to laugh would naturally not be missed. And Dieter couldn't help laughing when he saw such a lively guild atmosphere. Okay. Dieter will be an S-rank mage from now on. You can go to the 2nd floor to make a commission. Let's go. Makarov dismissed the meeting with a smile. Dieter also stepped down amid the crowd's thanks. After a while, everyone in the guild was busy again, and those who did commissions also walked together. And Dieter walked up to Lagoses and sat down, don't you agree? Zizi. Lagoses did not speak, but the arc on the earphone was beating, indicating that of course he was not convinced. Hee, come on. Dieter sneered, stood up and patted his shoulder, and whispered in his ear, keep your pride. You will never be able to raise your head in front of me one day with me in the guild. Yaw. The lightning arc shattered the water glass on the table, and Lagoses disappeared in front of his eyes. Dieter grinned. Lagoses, it looks like you still need to be beaten by society. Humming a ditty, Dieter walked to the commission bar. Yo. Dieter wants to take a commission mission? Do I need to form a team? Nab Lasaro, a new member of the guild, was was wandering in front of the commission column. I said, Nab, all you're looking for is the quest you can do, Dieter quipped. Nab shook his head, his face full of regret. These tasks are too easy for me to do. Dieter just smiled at that. Swipe through the tasks posted on the commission bar, and finally choose the one that needs to be turned around in Magnolia. Go out of the fairy tale guild gate. Turning around to look at the guild, he whispered softly, goodbye to fairy tale, and see you in a few years. Harjin Town. Cities with developed fisheries also represent a rich variety of fish. If you can catch rare fish, it will be enough to sell for sky-high prices. Get the fish. Hurry up and get the fish. If you can't catch any fish, you will go back to the guild and become an S-rank mage. On the sea. A boat is moored at a fishing spot. Dieter kept mumbling with his fishing rod, staring at the motionless float waiting for the fish to take the bait. Hey. It's been 5 years, and if you don't go back to the guild, the next time you come to see me will be the old guild leader. Dieter thought. Now 20 years old, he is already a big boy. It is estimated that he is the only one who has been away from home for 5 years, and he is the only one who dares to fish for 5 years. Crackling. Dieter put away his fishing rod and stood up to stretch, his body rattling with activity after a long period of fishing. It's time to go back to the guild. Looking at the city not far away, Dieter picked up the oars and moved the sea to the shore. After landing, I randomly found a restaurant to get something to eat. You're such a nice guy, and you invited me to dinner with Happy. Aye, good man. As soon as he entered a certain restaurant, Dieter heard a familiar voice. Following the voice, I saw a blonde girl with big eyes that seemed to be able to speak. Ha ha ha, who am I talking about? It turned out to be Natsu and Happy. Dieter laughed and walked over there. He had met Natsu 2 years ago, and the two of them had dinner together when he passed by on a mission. Ha, Dieter, long time no see. Dieter. Natsu stood up with a smile and greeted Dieter by hooking his shoulders. Happy also sits enthusiastically on his head, apparently happy too. Hello. I haven't seen you for 2 years. Natsu has grown a lot taller, and Happy is even cuter. Dieter smiled happily. It is also a pleasure to meet Natsu in Harjin. Haha, Dieter, let me introduce you. Natsu laughed. Pull Dieter to sit down and introduce the girl opposite. She's called Louise, she's a good person. Aye, Happy, reconsideration. Lucy sighed and covered his forehead, murmuring a little. My name is Lucy, you idiot. But soon put on a smile and looked at Dieter. Hello. Lucy? Nice to meet you. Mr. Dieter greeted. The story is about to start in the blink of an eye, and it's no wonder Natsu is here. Louis, he's Dieter, our eldest brother, he's amazing. Natsu also patted Dieter's shoulder. My name is Lucy. Lucy corrected, smiling cutely at the same time, and said generously. Natsu saved me before, since you are his big brother, let's have dinner together, I'll treat you. Dieter, Louise is a good person. Aye, good man. Natsu and Happy laughed and continued to say the wrong name. Yeah, she's not only a cute girl, she's also a good girl. Dieter said, helping to correct. But Natsu, her name is Lucy, not Lois, it's impolite to call a girl by the wrong name. No, it's okay, Dieter. Big brother, you can order whatever you want. Lucy was embarrassed by what he said, and hurriedly asked. Dieter nodded, and only after ordering 2 random meals did he deliberately ask. Why did you come here, Natsu? I heard it's looking for fire dragon, Lucy interjected. Natsu nodded and said disappointedly, I heard that Igneal is in Harjin town, so I came here to see it, I didn't expect to find the wrong person. It's not easy to find someone in such a big town, Lucy said. But Dieter smiled and shook his head. Natsu is not looking for people. Natsu also nodded. Igneal is a dragon, a real dragon. What? Lucy opened his mouth in shock. But he still reacted quickly, and complained with a strange expression. Since it is a dragon, how can it be in the city? Shouldn't it be in the mountains or deep forests? Ah. Yes. I. Both Natsu and Happy leaked expressions of realization. Huh. Lucy couldn't complain. Got up and put the meal money on the table, and thanked again. Anyway, thank you for your help, I'll go first, you all eat slowly. Natsu and Happy immediately knelt down and said loudly, thanks for the hospitality, you're such a nice guy. Aye. Lucy was immediately frightened by the sound, and waved his hand quickly. No, you make me embarrassed. Dieter smiled at them. Ding. Sign in to the town of Harjin and reward 10 skill points. At this time, the words in his mind reappeared, instantly making the smile on Dieter's face even more ecstatic. 5 years. After a full 5 years, this ghost system was finally activated again, and the sign-in was successful. There is even a direct reward of 10 skill points. At 10 o'clock, that's a lot of money. Dieter couldn't wait to let out the ecstasy in the sky. Fortunately, he still had to turn his face, took a deep breath to suppress the excitement in his heart, and immersed himself in his mind with excitement. Looking at the devil fruit treasure chest that has been showing for 5 years, it is finally going to be opened today. Dieter held back his excitement and chose to open the treasure chest. It takes 10 skill points to open the devil fruit treasure chest. Do you want to open it? Looking at the words that appeared in his mind, Dieter's excited heart felt as if he had fallen into the ice cave of eternity, and the cold made him feel extremely desolate. I thought I could save a lot of skill points by becoming rich, but I didn't expect that it would take 10 skill points to open a treasure chest. Take a deep breath. Dieter warned himself in his heart that the ghost system was not a human being, and he passed it with patience. After some self-soothing, Dieter felt much better. Watching the 10 skill points disappear, my heart is still fierce, and I keep praying for a powerful devil fruit. The treasure chest opens. Dieter's eyes were full of white light, and his ears were buzzing and he almost went deaf. Fortunately, he recovered in a few seconds. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining the superhuman-type rubber fruit ability. The words came to mind. Reminds Dieter of the devil fruit abilities that Dieter has acquired. The bottom of the tree map is above the Navy 6th form, which has been occupied by rubber fruits. You don't have to ask, you know that if you want to continue to the next stage, you will definitely need a lot of skill points to upgrade. The ability of the rubber fruit. Dieter exhaled a turbid breath, feeling the unusual body, and quickly grasped the initial changes of the rubber fruit. Strength, speed, and stamina have nearly doubled. As long as he is willing, he can instantly enter the second and third gears to attack, and at the same time, it can be merged with the Navy 6th form to make the second gear faster. Woo! After Natsu and Happy thanked Lucy, they sat back in their seats and ate frantically, unable to speak clearly. Natsu said, Dieter, why don't you eat quickly, there's so much he can't finish. Happy acts as a translator. Dieter laughed and stopped thinking about the gains and losses of getting the rubber fruit ability. Then let's eat more than anyone else. As soon as Dieter finished speaking, his hands became slightly longer, and he rolled the food on the table into his mouth and swallowed it directly. Natsu and Happy, across from them, were dumbfounded. You don't chew. Natsu stuttered. And Dieter stood up and walked outside with a smile, I don't need it. The advantage of rubber fruit is that no matter how much you eat, you can hold it. There is really no difference between chewing and chewing. The characteristics of the body will actively digest those foods. Wait for me, Natsu and Happy immediately followed. It was dark. The stars in the sky gleamed and bloomed in their afterglow, making everything under the night clearly visible. I'm so full, on Takahashi. Dieter is blowing with Natsu and Happy here. Happy looked at the boats on the sea and said, by the way, the fire dragon said that he would have a party on the boat, so that's the boat. Ouch, I want to vomit. Natsu immediately covered his mouth when he heard the boat and looked ugly. Happy complained. Please don't get seasick just by imagining it, okay? Haha. Dieter laughed, looking at Natsu's impolite taunt. Natsu, your shortcomings can't be corrected. In the future, leave all the battles on the ship to me. Oh, I want to vomit. Natsu was so embarrassed that he didn't dare to look at the boat. Look. That's Lord Fire Dragon's ship. I seem to be participating too. Lord Fire Dragon. The three beauties shopping next to them looked at the boats on the sea and discussed enviously. Dieter looked at them. Don't you know? He's currently in the city, and I heard he's a wizard of the super famous fairy tale guild, said one of the women. Natsu, who was about to vomit, was stunned. Looking at the three ladies with serious eyes, he repeated in a bad tone, fairy tale? Looking back at the ships in the sea, he immediately covered his mouth again. I want to vomit. Happy, silent. Dieter also remained silent. After waiting for Natsu to feel better, Dieter put on a frosty smile, raised his arm and pointed at the sailboat on the sea. Fairy tale, Natsu. It seems that our guild has also sullied some unscrupulous people. Yeah. Natsu nodded seriously, then. Destroy him. Destroy him. The two said in unison. After looking at each other and smiling, Happy grew wings from behind to grab Natsu, looked at Dieter and asked, Dieter, do you need me to fly with you? There was a surge of air under Dieter's feet, suspended in midair. No need. Swoosh, the figure flickered, sprinting towards the sailboat on the sea. On board. Your name is Lucy, isn't it? What a nice name. Porla filled a glass with juice in the cabin. Lucy forced a smile in her evening gown. Thank you. Let's have a drink first, Porla said with a cool expression. Daw. After snapping his fingers, the juice in the glass floated, and Lucy was absent-minded and felt a strong sense of drowsiness. Come on. Open your mouth, and the gem of the fruit will slowly slide into your mouth. Hearing Porla's words, Lucy got goosebumps and yelled in his heart, I'm sick of it. But soon, Lucy woke up suddenly. Raising the palm of his hand to blow the juice away, he asked cautiously, What are you trying to do? You are using the sleep magic, sleep, right? Porla grinned, hee, you know quite a lot. Seeing Porla's shameless confession, Lucy said angrily, Don't get me wrong, I really want to join Fairy Tale, but I don't want to be your woman. Porla let out a sarcastic smile, You're really tough. At this time, the curtains of the cabin were pulled open, and a group of men walked over with a wicked smile clutching the women. Lucy was surprised, What the hell is going on? Welcome to my ship. Porla opened her eyes and looked at Lucy, Better be nice to me before I get to Persian, little girl. Lucy panicked. Looking at the group of comatose girls puzzled, What Persian brother, then? What about Fairy Tale? Porla laughed. Lucy's shoulders twitched, her head lowered and her teeth gritted. What the hell is going on with this guy, to actually do such a thing? Could it be that? Is this the magician of Fairy Tale? Pung. The cabin roof was cracked. Natsu fell into the cabin, startling everyone. Natsu. Lucy was overjoyed. And Natsu stood on the boat, handsome for only 3 seconds, and immediately curled up and covered his mouth. I want to vomit. Outside the hole, Dieter and Happy also leaked out. Haha, Natsu, it's a bit embarrassing that you can't be handsome for 3 seconds. Dieter laughed. Happy, is also sure. Happy, brother Dieter. Lucy snickered again, but could immediately react. Happy. How can you fly? Aren't you a cat? And how can you fly, brother Dieter? Yo, Lucy is there too. Dieter greeted with a smile. Happy flew in, wrapped its tail around Lucy's waist, and flew out. The detailed process will be discussed later, let's go first. Hey, Lucy said hurriedly, looking at the sailing boat that was drifting away. Wait, Natsu and Dieter, don't you mind them? Happy leaked a weird expression. It's okay, there's Dieter here. On board. Damn it, don't try to escape, look at my flame whip. Porla waved his hand. A fiery red magic circle appeared in front of him, and the flame whip shot from the magic circle towards Lucy and Happy in the air. Hey, it's really good when I don't exist. Dieter shook his head. He raised his arm and stretched out his index finger to watch the attacks. Finger gun. Madara. Bang bang bang. The arm turned into an afterimage and met those flame whips in the air. Clap clap clap. The flame whip was hit, and all of Dieter exploded in front of him. Who the hell are you? Porla asked, looking at Dieter in the air. Staring at him, he will continue to attack. Hey. Uncomfortable. Natsu stood up on the hull, ready to attack. Chi. Porla raised her foot unhappily at Natsu and punched and kicked. Dieter in the air fell in from the outside, looking at Natsu who was beaten by the group and couldn't help laughing and crying. Natsu. Why bother, let me help you. Said and looked at the group of people in front of him. You must be too arrogant here. Porla resented, and waved her order. Everyone, kill him. Dieter shook his head. Shave. Finger gun. Biu. 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 In less than 3 seconds, all the people in front of him were wounded and fell to the ground. You. Porla panicked. My group of younger brothers can't hold on to this person for 3 seconds. How is this possible? Is this guy really that strong? Damn it. Go to hell. Slamla. Porla was about to fight when she heard a raging wave. Looking out the window, the huge waves stirred up and rushed towards the sailboat. The huge waves seemed to be a ruthless devil trying to shoot everyone into the deep sea. Oops. I don't have to play. Dieter smacked his lips, looked at Natsu, and said, Natsu, help my brother clean up this waste, I'll take it out first. Okay. Vomit. I want to vomit. Natsu still pulled across. Dieter didn't care too much, jumping out of the sailboat and watching the huge waves set off the boat and hit the dock. By the coast. There was a loud bang. The dock was destroyed by ships, and countless people fled with their lives. No one could watch the play under such circumstances. Natsu, Big Brother Dieter, below, Happy, and Lucy waved their hands towards this direction. Dieter fell from the air, grabbed Lucy's slender waist and stepped back a few meters. Don't disturb Natsu, these people let him deal with it. Huh. But Natsu. Lucy worried. Happy, grinned. Lucy, actually Natsu and Dieter are both sorcerers. What? Lucy was taken aback. The color contacts swept across Dieter's face, then looked at Natsu standing up in the smoke of the ship, surprised. On the boat, Natsu looked down at Porla and asked, "You said you were the wizard of fairy tale, didn't you?" There was only Porla left alone, and he retorted, "So what?" Natsu jumped off the boat, threw his jacket away, stared sharply at Porla, and scolded, "Let me take a good look at your face." He stepped forward and walked forward. "I am Natsu from the Fairy Tale Guild. I have never heard of your character." Startled, Lucy's eyes widened in surprise. With a stiff head, he turned his head to look at Big Brother Dieter next to him. His voice stuttered. Big Brother, you. Happy sat on Dieter's shoulder, took out a fish from the backpack behind him and ate it. "Yes, we are all wizards in the Fairy Tale Guild." Ah? It turned out to be. Lucy was stunned. She didn't expect that the person she accidentally met was the sorcerer who had always longed for the guild, and she felt ashamed when she remembered what she said before, which would be a shame. "Big Brother Dieter, are we going to help?" Lucy hurriedly put aside the subject. Happy suddenly pulled a face. Looking at Lucy very seriously, he said, "Lucy, don't let Dieter go, he won't be able to play, and the whole city will be destroyed." Huh. Big Brother Dieter. That's amazing. Lucy couldn't believe it. Natsu looked very good. Could it be that Big Brother Dieter is even more powerful? But it doesn't look like it. Happy continued. Dieter is an S-class wizard. What? Lucy's whole body seemed to be struck by thunder. Standing sluggishly by the side, the words "happy" kept echoing in his brain. Big Brother Dieter. S-class mage? This. Dieter disagreed and shouted at Natsu, who was fighting. "Natsu, you are doing beautifully. You are too good. I want to be your little brother. You are too strong now." Natsu jumped to his feet when he heard Dieter's words. He glared at him with shame. "You bastard, are you kidding me on purpose?" If it was in the past, he definitely didn't think there was any problem, but he knew clearly that Dieter's strength should not be underestimated. Dealing with this unworthy person will definitely kill in an instant. Natsu he. Lucy was puzzled. This is obviously a compliment to Natsu. Why does he look unhappy? Happy answered in a timely manner. "It's called a slap kill, it says." "Natsu. Why are you so rude? The fight is too slow. Why don't I get in? In fact, Dieter only needs 1 second to kill this guy." Lucy's heart skipped a beat. 1 second? Is Brother Dieter that strong? Obviously looks very pleasant and eclectic. Fire dragons, iron fist. Boom. Porla was sent flying with an iron fist, and the fight was over. "Natsu, you've spent up to 5 minutes in total. Do you know how many fish I can catch in those 5 minutes? Dieter said. Natsu scratched his hair awkwardly. He. Whoa. At this time Harjan's army came in line. "The army is coming, run," Natsu shouted. Dieter raised an eyebrow. A princess picked up Lucy and flew away. "Ah, Big Brother Dieter. Let me down." Lucy was shy. Dieter looked down at the pretty face close at hand and said, "Aren't you going to join Fairy Tale? Be obedient, my brother will take you to fly." "Ah." Lucy blushed and couldn't hide her excitement. "Yeah. Welcome to Fairy Tale." Dieter took Lucy's little hand and stood at the gate of the guild, also lost in memories. He hadn't come back for many years. Boom. Natsu was not so polite, kicked the guild door open and shouted, "I'm back." Everyone in the guild was warmly welcomed. "Welcome home. You are back." Big Bucktooth also leaned back on the chair and said, "You've done a great job again," in Harjan's. Boom. The answer to him was a flying kick. "You bastard." Natsu scolded. Lucy exclaimed, "Ah, what's going on?" Natsu scolded the big buckteeth and said, "The fire dragon information you gave me before turned out to be fake." The guild became noisy for a while. Dieter walked into the guild silently, raised his hand to signal to the members, "Yo, long time no see." Silent. With Dieter's appearance, everyone in the guild fell into extreme silence. Kana rubbed her dizzy head, and was immediately surprised. "Ah, it was Dieter. You haven't come back for several years, you've grown so big." "I'm going. Dieter is back, it's been 5 years." Wakaba was also surprised. "My god, am I dreaming? It's Dieter. God, is he actually one of the 2 most mysterious S-rank wizards in Fairy Tale, Dieter?" It was amazing. Everyone else in the guild spoke in surprise, as did the new members of the guild. Looking at what they say, Big Brother Dieter seems to be different, Lucy muttered. Happy, said. Dieter hasn't come back for 5 years. Leaving Lucy behind, Dieter also smiled and walked towards a certain goal of the guild. Yo, Mira, long time no see, you are really becoming more and more feminine. When he came to Mira Jane, Dieter swept over the young, beautiful and gentle Mira Jane and joked. Mira Jane gave him a cold look, and her tone was full of sorrow and resentment. What's the matter? No matter how feminine it is, I didn't let some people come back. 5 years. Why didn't that person die outside? Dieter was so embarrassed that he kept drinking juice to lighten the mood. Elfman's sturdy body sat beside him, and he said, Dieter, you've been involved in a big deal. You haven't taken the initiative to come back to see my sister for 5 years, so I have to ask my sister to see you. Go go go, play. Dieter rolled his eyes and drove Elfman away in disgust. After looking at Mira Jane again, I didn't know what to say. After Lysana left, the two met, but they didn't come back on their own initiative. It's normal to be angry with him now. Young girls are in the beginning of love, and Dieter was strong and very attractive back then. Mira Jane did have a little interest in him, and Lysana's departure was the trigger, which made Mira Jane really like him even more. Now complaining about him like an abandoned little daughter-in-law. Right. Hurry up and stop, a bunch of idiots. Just when Dieter was about to say 2 good words, a huge figure appeared. Step on Natsu with 1 foot. It's so big, Lucy complained. Huh. The huge figure heard the voice, looked over and wondered, new? Then the body shrank rapidly and became its original shape. So small. Lucy immediately complained. Dieter over there also turned his head, smiled and waved, yo, I'll be well, long time no see. President. Lucy was surprised. And when President Makarov heard this familiar voice, his arm immediately became bigger. You idiots still know how to come back. Saying that, he turned around and controlled the huge arm to hit Dieter, who was sitting leisurely. I'm going. This welcome ceremony is too exaggerated. Dieter could not laugh or cry. He stretched his right arm in front of him, opened his mouth to bite his arm, and took a deep breath. 3 gears. Immediately, an arm the same size as President Makarov appeared. F*K. What the hell is this? When did Dieter learn the magic of gigantic? This arm is the same as the president's. Gray groaned. Natsu's eyes also shone with golden light. It's amazing, Dieter has become stronger. My god, isn't that arm a little too exaggerated? Lucy was stunned. The 2 arms met in the guild hall. Boom. Hoo-hoo. The airwaves spread around, and the girls in skirts in the guild were also lifted up by the wind and waves. Dieter is much stronger again. Giant magic. I heard that this kind of magic is difficult to learn. Only the guild leader can use it, and now even Dieter can do it. I haven't seen this kid for 5 years. I'm afraid his strength is not weaker than Lagos's. What's not weaker than Lagos's? You are all newcomers. Dieter was able to suppress Lagos's 5 years ago, and the S-rank mage status obtained by defeating Lagos's. Both the newcomers and the old people in the guild exclaimed. They were all amazed at Dieter's strength, which was unfathomable 5 years ago, and it was even more terrifying to meet again now. President Makarov was also stunned. With his fists and hands behind him, he jumped over to Dieter and Juice's table and stared at him. After waiting for a long time, he asked, Little devil, did you just learn this in 5 years? Yeah. Dieter nodded. The ability of the rubber fruit is indeed just acquired, and it is also a test of power just now. Overall it's pretty good. Makarov nodded and didn't ask any further. He came to the guardrail on the 2nd floor and scanned the guild members below. Cough. You guys have caused trouble for me again. Makarov took out a thick pile of materials and continued to complain. Look at yourself, the council sent such a thick pile of complaints again. The members of the guild below couldn't help but bow their heads and remain silent in guilt. Dieter also drank the juice in his hand without speaking. You guys make me scolded by the council all day long, Makarov complained. No matter who the guild members are, they don't dare to take unnecessary actions, even Lucy is a little uncomfortable. But Makarov changed his words, raised the complaint in his hand, lit it, fed Natsu, and continued. Tell the committee members to eat she. Dieter grinned, feeling much better. Lucy was a little surprised that the president dared to say such a thing. At this time, Makarov said in a loud voice. Listen carefully, the power beyond persistence all comes from the idea of persistence. Magic is not the power of miracles, but the fusion of the airflow within us and the airflow in nature. When they are together, they will be transformed into concrete powers for the first time. At this time, through mental power and concentration. No, this magic can only be formed by injecting all of one's own soul. If you always care about the vision of the high-ranking people, you will not be able to improve your own magic. You don't have to be afraid of those guys in the council. Follow the path you believe in. The members below all leaked excited smiles. One by one, they looked at each other and crossed their shoulders, overflowing with laughter. Makarov also raised his finger. This is the magician of our fairy tale. Woohoo! Wow ah ah! Enthusiastic members followed suit. Raise your fingers and swear a gesture exclusive to the Fairy Tale Guild. Dieter smiled and drank all the juice into the tough bond. Huh. After 3 hours, Dieter finally breathed a sigh of relief. I also feel deeply troubled about coaxing girls. It took a full 3 hours to coax the angry Mirajane, no longer blaming him for being irresponsible for never coming back voluntarily in 5 years. Mila is so kind to me, I think you made this fish for me yourself. Seeing a fish dish that didn't sell very well that Mila handed over, she also looked at her with gratitude and affection, and wanted to express her heart with her eyes. Mira rolled her eyes and said, "Try it. You don't need to taste it to know it's very delicious." Dieter said with a smile, picked up the fork and pushed aside the side dishes on the fish, saw the whole fish inside, and found that he was not very familiar, so he asked, "This fish it seems rare." Mira nodded. "It's a kind of fish that lives in a big river over there at Shiloh Simon. It's a freshwater fish. You fish in the sea all the year round, and it's normal that you haven't seen a freshwater fish." Freshwater fish. Dieter was distracted, thinking about when to go fishing for freshwater fish. "Aren't you going to go fishing again?" Mira asked in a cold tone, seeming to notice Dieter's distraction. Dieter came back to his senses and shook his head quickly. "Nothing, don't go. Don't go. I'm not blaming you for going fishing." Mila sighed and wiped her plate as she spoke. "I just think you're too obsessed with fishing. How can anyone fish for 5 years and not come home?" Dieter laughed awkwardly. "Not anymore." After eating the food in a hurry, Dieter walked to the taskbar for the first time in 5 years, looking at Nab who was still wandering. He couldn't help laughing, and said, "Have you found a task that only you can complete?" Nab nodded seriously. "No." Hearing his unrepentant response, Dieter really couldn't speak to him, and turned his attention to those entrusted tasks. "The entrusted money isn't as much as what I earn from fishing," Dieter muttered. "Just get a commission and leave the guild, and the commission task in hand is to go to the Shiloh sub-store. This day. On the terrace of a restaurant. Leave the fat as Lucy." Natsu grabbed the meat with both hands and ate greedily. Happy. Sat on the table with a glutinous rice ball in his hand, and reconsidered. She seems to like eating meat. The two were talking, when an arm was quietly stretched out. Surprisingly, that arm became very long, extended to the table and grabbed a big piece of fat and quickly left. "Who dare to steal our food?" Natsu was angry. Immediately chasing after the arm, Happy, and Lucy who had just changed clothes followed. Soon the three of them came to another table and saw who was stealing the fat. "Ah." Natsu saw the little stars in his eyes, and said in surprise, "Dieter. Why are you here?" "Ah, it's Dieter. Ah, it's brother Dieter." Happy, and Lucy also looked at the man at the table in surprise and exclaimed. At the table, Dieter, who was eating fat, greeted with a smile, "Yo. I met Natsu again." After looking at Lucy, his face was a little weird, and he asked, "Lucy, are you playing a maid?" If you want to call my master, I don't mind." Lucy blushed and retorted in a coquettish voice, "No, I'm just here to entrust a mission." "I see." Dieter smiled, pointed to a bucket on the ground, and said to Happy, "There are fish in here, you can eat whatever you want." Happy drooled down. "Really?" Dieter nodded with a smile, beckoning to Natsu and Lucy to sit down too. Two people do not doubt. After sitting down, they also shared their mission this time. "You didn't know Duke Ibar, did you?" Dieter glanced oddly at Lucy dressed as a maid. Natsu scratched his head in confusion. "What's the problem?" After talking about this, Dieter began to answer the two people about Duke Elba's personal hobbies, analyzing his weaknesses and personality. Lucy was stunned after listening. How can there is such a person? After listening to Duke Ibar's hobby and the request to recruit a maid, Lucy's face could no longer remain calm. What was that weird hobby? "But there are exceptions to everything. You can try it. Maybe the Duke of Elba has an idea for you." Dieter didn't finish his sentence. He stretched out his hand and took the food in front of him into his mouth, then got up and invited, "Come on, I'll go take a look with you." Okay. All three of Natsu agreed. After leaving the restaurant, head towards the house of the poster who entrusted the quest. Inside the luxury estate. "I am the client Kabi Menlo." Kabi Menlo with a small beard introduced. Melon. What a delicious name. Both Happy and Natsu were drooling with thirst. "You're so rude," Lucy warned. He secretly glanced at Dieter, who was sitting in a daze not far away, and was relieved. No matter what, as long as Big Brother Dieter is there is no need to worry about any danger. Now. Dieter is not in a daze, but is immersed in the tree map in his mind. The reason is naturally that after entering this luxurious manor, following the conversation between Natsu and his client Kabi Menlo, the system in his mind started again. Ding. Sign in to Hilo's secondary store and get 10 skill points. The ghost system successfully signed in. Although I don't know what the principle of signing in is, as long as there are skill points. Devil fruit points need 10 points for level 1. According to the level of the 6th form of the Navy, it takes 100 points to start the next stage. This is too difficult, Dieter muttered. The level requirements of this ghost system are also a bit too high. If it goes on like this, when will I be able to beat the Black Dragon Acronia and the Black Mage Zareth? Add the skill points at will, thinking about the sign-in principle of the system. Big Brother Dieter, we can go. At this point Lucy spoke to Dieter. They had already learned about the entrusted quest, and it was time to carry out the quest. Okay. Dieter stopped thinking in his heart and followed Lucy out of the manor. The mansion of the Duke of Ibar. "I'm here to apply for a maid, is anyone there?" Lucy was wearing a maid outfit at the door. And on the trunk of the nearby woods, Dieter and Natsu and Happy sat looking up at the sky. This girl really intends to apply for a maid to try it out. It's useless and she has to ask for it, Dieter complained. Natsu was looking forward to it, and whispered encouragement. "Do it well. Come on, Happy." Boom. A large bag bulged behind Lucy, and the pink-haired maid came out of the ground, and the huge body looked like a huge monster. Cold sweat oozes from Lucy's forehead. Taking a peek at Brother Dieter and Natsu in the woods made me feel relieved. Brother Dieter will definitely come to save people when they die. "Master, this blonde girl said she's here to be a maid," the huge monster shouted at the Duke's mansion. Then Duke Ibar also came out from the ground. The arrogance on his nose was twisted. He touched his chin and looked at Lucy and pondered. "Here." Lucy had to put on a cute look. "No need, go back, dinosaur girl." Duke Ibar drove away with disgust on his face. Dread. Dragon. Sister. Lucy seemed to be struck by thunder. Those 3 words echoed in his mind, and unprecedented humiliation rushed to his heart. Duke Ibar turned around and said, "Listen, to a successful person like me, even if you recruit a maid, you should find someone like this." Bang. The ground swelled up again, and 4 maids appeared, which was also considered a strange shape. "Dinosaur girl doesn't deserve to be my maid, you can go," Duke Ibar said. Lucy wanted to cry without tears. "Dinosaur girl." The 3 words accompanied her back to the tree trunk where Dieter and others were hiding, curling her legs and crying aggrieved. "What, it's useless at all." Natsu groaned. Lucy cursed frantically. "It's not, it's that Elba's aesthetic is too strange, you. It's an excuse. Woo, I'm pissed off." "Okay, if that's the case, let's change to T-fight," Natsu said. "Okay, I will never spare that old man." Lucy also vowed to go in and teach Duke Ibar a lesson. Dieter jumped down from the tree trunk. "I won't participate in your mission, and we'll go back together when things are done." As he spoke, he turned and walked towards the other side of the Duke's mansion. Inside the mansion, a crystal ball was suspended in front of Duke Ibar, and what was playing on it was Dieter and his party on the tree trunk outside. "Gee. It's true that my generation can come here if you want, and leave if you want to leave. Brother Panish, you two will go down and get rid of the person who is leaving, and then come back and deal with these fairy tale wizards," Ibar the Duke ordered. The Panicio brothers behind him took a step forward. "Understood, the Mere Mage Guild is not the opponent of our mercenary guild at all." Outside, Dieter wandered around with his hands on the back of his head, looking for something to do, and it would be nice if there was a small river where he could fish. "Oh, this kind of person with no vigilance turned out to be the wizard of fairy tale. My mother will be scared to death," the voice sounded from behind. Dieter turned his head to look at the badges on the arms of the 2 men, touched his chin and muttered, "You are from the South Wolf of the Mercenary Guild, and it looks like that." Brother Panicu disapproved and let out a smile. Haha, Nan Lang is often hungry, so be conscious. Dieter scratched his hair and nodded. He walked around with his hands behind his back and said, "It's rare that you are willing to take the initiative to see me, so let me try your skills." Chi. The Panicius brothers pursed their noses. The younger brother rushed towards Dieter at a high speed, and his fists and legs released the ultimate move to attack the fatal wound. Paper painting. Dieter stood on the spot and kept flashing back and forth, but the seemingly intensive attacks couldn't hit him at all. With sarcasm in his eyes, "Are you Nanlang people just so rubbish?" Boom. Brother Paniche took the cauldron and fell into the air, hitting the ground under Dieter's feet, and the sound of the explosion caused the mud to splash. Dieter's figure was already 2 meters away from the two at that moment. Fairy tales people are nothing more than wizards, and they can't compete with mercenaries like us as combat experts. Your stamina will eventually be exhausted, Paniquo's brother said in a pocket. Dieter let out a beating expression and exaggerated, "It's amazing." The Panicio brothers felt insulted, and their faces became more and more ugly. The two stopped talking nonsense and immediately attacked the ground. Six Styles Razor, you hit me first and then talk about it. Dieter disagreed, and his body was constantly flashing in this open space. No matter what, the attack of the Panicio brothers could not hit Dieter even once. "Do you only hide?" Brother Panicius was very distressed. "This guy is like a loach, he can't hit even if he is slippery or not. Even though his fist has already touched his body slips away to attack strangely. This kind of suffocation also prevents the two of them from being able to fully utilize their strengths." "Oh? You want to end the fight? Why didn't you tell me sooner?" Dieter laughed. "Step back a distance of 2 meters, hold a horse stance, hold your knees with both hands, and lower your body." I saw Dieter's ankle weirdly turned into a spring, struggling in circles and then disappearing again. At the same time, his body turned an unhealthy red color, like cooked food, and his body was even more misty white smoke. "What is this? How can a person's body emit smoke?" Brother Paniche was also in deep thought when he saw Dieter's changes, because their mercenary guild had never seen this kind of weird magic. "Why does the human body feel like a spring? It's going to be smoky and red. This is the first time I've used second gear. Although it's a big deal for you guys, I still hope you can stick with it for a while, so as not to be killed by me." Dieter felt the doubled power in his body, and he was eager to find an S-rank mage to learn from. "Brother, use the fusion technique." "Okay." Brother Panicu leapt into the air, and his older brother held out a cauldron of weapons. The younger brother stepped into the cauldron. Heaven and earth destroy the killing method. Swish. After using the fusion technique, the speed of the Paniche brothers has been further improved. "Shameful skill," Dieter muttered. Brother Napanihu threw his brother into the air and immediately hit Dieter. "Look up to the sky, I'm on the ground." Rumbling, the ground was knocked out, but it missed. Brother, he was not on the ground and suddenly disappeared. "I'm behind you." Brother Paniche informed his brother that he heard a sound behind him before he could finish speaking. Boom. Before he could turn around and exert his strength, he only felt that his back was hit countless times in an instant, and he was immediately impacted and fell to the ground. Boom. A human-shaped pothole was smashed out of the ground, and Paniquo's brother coughed up blood and lay in the center of the pothole. "Eyeballs are bloodshot, I can't believe it, how? Will." Younger brother. Brother Panichu rushed towards his brother's body with red eyes. "Do you think I'll give you a chance?" Dieter's voice came from behind like a diabolical whisper. The voice fell before the attack. "Ah." Boom. Brother Panichu screamed and relived his brother's feelings just now. The brothers were both stunned by Dieter's speed. In less than 1 second, the brothers were hit in the body 20 times in a row. How could that speed be the speed of a magician? "You." Cough. Blood spewed out of the two brothers' mouths, and Dieter, who saw his body smoking, was speechless. Gap. The two brothers felt a gap that had never been seen before. That feeling is not a point and a half, but it is very different, like the gap between heaven and earth. "Rest in peace, you two. It's not a shame to be defeated by a fairy tales class wizard," Dieter said. S rank. Mage. The shocked pupils of the Panicius brothers shrank rapidly. It was a kind of peace of mind that had never been seen before, and being able to compete with an S-rank wizard was enough for the two of them to rest their eyes. Boom boom boom. Dieter's figure was moving away. There was a roaring explosion where the Panicius brothers fell. "You're lucky if you all survive," Dieter muttered. The roar made the Duke's mansion tremble slightly. "What happened?" Ibar, who was confronting Lucy in the sewer, glanced around while leaning on the wall. Hey, it must be Big Brother Dieter, the person you sent must have lost. Lucy smirked. Ibar's face was solemn, and he denied. Impossible. Brother Panny Shoe is the wolf of the South Wolf Mercenary Guild, and will not lose. Seeing Ibar so determined, Lucy also straightened up. Very proud and said loudly, what about the Southern Wolf Mercenary Guild? Brother Dieter is our fairy tales level wizard. What? Ibar exclaimed. He looked at Lucy in embarrassment, and said, how? How can you have S-class mages accompanying you? He couldn't believe it. The identity represented by the S-rank mages is the top combat power of a guild. It's just a small mission. How can there be S-rank mages to follow? Hey, hurry up and admit defeat now. Lucy was delighted to find out that the identity of an S-class mage turned out to be so powerful. Is it possible to use it later? Damn it. Ibar angrily attacked again. For a while, there were many battles in the mansion. Beside the city's river, Big Brother Dieter. Lucy and Natsu, happy, came running from a distance and said hello to Dieter, who was sitting by the river fishing. Yo, are you done with the mission? Dieter asked with a smile. Speaking of being depressed in this place, Lucy said glumly, don't mention it. Kabi Menchi has no money at all, and they rented the big manor, not to mention 2 million or even 200,000. That's really bad luck, Dieter replied with a smile. Lucy continued to speak aggrievedly. This time there is no cost to go back by car. It's okay, I'll let Happy lead the way. Natsu replied with a smile. Dieter smiled and put away the fishing rod in his hand, then let's go back. The next day. I said, Happy, is this really the shortcut you're talking about? That's what she said. In the deep forest, Lucy sits in Horologium's body and asks him to help spread the word. If Happy said it was this way, it must be this way, just tell her that, Natsu replied. Dieter followed slowly. It's really rude, I'm a cat anyway, and a cat's nose is very smart. Happy, Tsunere. Horologium helped spread the word. You should be talking about a dog. Besides, what does a sensitive nose have to do with finding a way? That's what she said. Susu, suddenly, there was a restless voice in the grass next to him. Natsu immediately roared and threw his luggage into the grass. Who is it? Crackling. After seeing the sound of a fight coming from there, Lucy quickly complained, and Horologium helped pass the message. Why do you fight every time? He said so. Dieter was quietly beside him as a handsome man. Whoosh. The figures of Gray and Natsu jumped out of the grass and came to the open space to set up a fight with each other. It's Gray. Dieter said. Gray glared at Natsu in his shorts. I'm looking for the toilet. Why don't you take off your pants before you find the toilet? Natsu said with a displeased expression. Besides, where does the toilet come from in this forest? Gray countered with disdain. I want to ask you, why bother me when I go to the toilet? Walking panties. Ah? You fire-breathing guy is going to fight. Come. The two quarreled again. Lucy sighed, not knowing what to say. At this time, Dieter came out and stood in front of the two of them and looked at them. You want to fight? Do you need me to help you? Why don't I beat you too? Gray and Natsu suddenly turned off. He blinked and dared not speak. It's amazing, the two of them stop arguing when Big Brother Dieter speaks. Lucy was surprised. Happy leaked a weird smile and said, because Dieter is the eldest brother of the same age in the guild, and he is the eldest brother who was beaten, not according to age. Really? It's amazing. Lucy was surprised. Several people continued to move forward together. The quickest way to meet Magnolia is through this forest, but Dieter, how did you follow along? Gray said. Happy answered immediately. Look, I'm not wrong. Lucy also said that I was looking for the wrong way, it's really too much. Ignoring Happy, Dieter yawns as Natsu and Gray leak smiles. With a smirk on his face. I'm in the Shiloh substore myself. As for why I follow Natsu, because your boss is coming back. Boss? Boss. Boss. The former is Lucis Doubt. The latter was the panic of Natsu and Gray, both of whom had expressions of panic. He. Yes, Natsu and Gray are getting ready for her, Dieter smirked. Natsu and Gray's foreheads were oozing sweat at a speed visible to the naked eye. Lucy thought it was strange, looked at Dieter next to him and asked curiously, Big Brother Dieter, what does the boss mean? Boss Erza. Dieter responded. Happy ate the fish. She is the most recognized female magician in fairy tale. Huh? Lucy was curious. It's amazing, I want to see her. However, Erza has never been in a magazine. What kind of person is she? Lucy asked. It's scary. It's scary. Both Gray and Natsu spit out 3 words in unison. Beast. Monster? It's a monster at all. The 3 of them whispered. Lucy had no choice but to look at Dieter for help, hoping he could answer him. And Dieter crossed his chin and thought for a while. In a sense, it's exactly as they say, but at most it's a kitten in front of me. Monster? Kitty? The more Lucy listened, the more confused it became. There are enemies. Dieter said suddenly. Boom. As soon as the voice fell, there was a big explosion where everyone was standing. Happy. Disappeared after a cloud of dust. Happy. Natsu exclaimed. People are looking for it immediately. At the foot of a mountain, Happy was seen tied to a stick waiting to be grilled. Stop me. This guy is our partner. I can't let you eat him just because you are hungry. Appears Dieter et al. He yawned and watched the battle silently, and he didn't need his help at all in a fight of this magnitude. Oh, what partner? This is our meat. We want you to take care of it. Come on, said the person below. Several people immediately rushed towards Dieter and the others from the ground. Gray, let's go. Please, don't give me orders. Dieter nodded. Come on. The words fell, and Natsu and Gray rushed down. Dieter, who was thinking of watching the fight, found out that a guy was going to hit him. Why? Dieter shook his head. He raised his finger and pointed at the man who was rushing, finger gun fire pull. Boom. Flames burn. Ah! Screams rang out from the mouth of the attacking Dieter. His whole body was burning, and he fell to the ground and rolled around trying to put out the flames. But to no avail. Flying gun finger pull. Dieter raised his finger again and fired air bombs at the bound Happy. Immediately after breaking the rope, Happy stretched out its wings and flew, landing on Dieter's shoulders. Great. Thank you, Dieter. Happy, thanks. Dieter smiled. It's okay, watch Natsu and Gray beat up. It's amazing, brother Dieter, your magic is amazing. Lucy was pleasantly surprised. The understatement of the person sitting next to him, raising his fingers and knocking down the enemy, fascinated her too much. At the same time more curious about his magic. In the battlefield. It is also very fast to deal with these ants, and they will be eliminated by 3 and 5, and the 2 will show off their speed and quarrel again. Lula. Lula. Several enemies were tied up, and both Lucy and Dieter heard strange noises. What Lula? Lucy doesn't know why. Whizzing. Just when everyone heard what was said, a phantom on the ground broke through the heavy defenses and rushed towards the trapped enemy. Hey hey hey. Is it too disrespectful to save someone in front of my face? Dieter muttered. He clenched his right fist and slammed it hard on the ground. Boom. Boom. The ground shattered, the dirt and gravel seemed to have been hit by divine scourge, and cobweb-like cracks extended from Dieter's feet toward the surroundings. Lucy and the others stood unsteadily, and their bodies swayed to the ground. The phantom disappeared, but several enemies also disappeared. Cut. Bad luck. Dieter frowned and was very angry, and walked towards the distance with his hands in his pockets, waving to several people as he walked. Let's go, it's time to go home. Impressive. Looking at the rubble on the ground, Lucy exclaimed. I've been listening to Happy and Natsu saying that Big Brother Dieter is an S-rank mage, and he doesn't have a specific understanding of his strength in his heart. Now he is shocked to see the spider cracks that are 7 or 8 meters in diameter. It turned out that Brother Dieter's punch without magic was so powerful. Dieter's strength has become much stronger. Gray also swallowed. Having not seen Dieter take action in 5 years, Gray thought he should be closer to him, but now he seems to think too much. It's amazing. Natsu chased after Dieter in surprise and shouted, Dieter, let's fight, I'm burning. Shout bro. Okay brother Dieter, let's fight. Con. You shouted too fast and not sincere, Magnolia Town. There was a huge shadow of horns on the ground, and there was the sound of crashing, armor colliding. Many people in the city did not dare to move after seeing the Shadow Master. Because that is the strongest female mage, Erza. She walked towards the guild step by step, the sound of the armor hitting the minds of passers-by. Guild Hall. Wow. Loki pushed the door in a panic from the outside and shouted, it's not good. The guild members looked at him in confusion, not understanding the reason for his panic. Erza is back. Whoa. There was an uproar in the guild, and everyone felt like they were sitting on pins and needles, eager to flee immediately. Miss Erza seems very dignified, Lucy said. Gray complained. Where is the majesty? She is simply a devil. Allah, Mirajane explained with a smile. Yes, Erza is the strongest magician. Lucis' eyes widened. Sure enough, Miss Erza's strength far exceeds most of the people in the guild. Mirajane's words aren't over yet. Few people of his age can beat Erza. Impressive. Lucy was in admiration with anticipation. She really wanted to meet such a powerful wizard. But there are people of the same age who can make Erza, Mirajane said. Lucis' eyes widened. Such a powerful wizard is not the most powerful one in his age? Dieter can hold Erza, Mirajane said. Hearing this, Lucy revealed an expression of sudden realization. Hearing Natsu and Gray say that brother Dieter is the eldest in his age and the strongest. Wow. Wow, the sound of the armor rubbing came. Everyone in the guild dared not say any nonsense, and looked at the guild gate with lingering fears. Soon, a huge shadow was cast on the ground, and the owner of the shadow slowly drew closer. Step by step. Boom. Erza placed the huge demon horn on the ground, and the guild ground shook. Miss Erza, that amazing thing is. A wizard next to him pointed at the huge object to inquire. It's the demon horn that I fought. The locals are very enthusiastic about giving it to me as a decoration. Erza looked at it and said, is it an eyesore? No, no, no. The man immediately denied. Erza turned around and glanced at everyone in the guild with sharp eyes, and scolded. I heard a lot of rumors along the way, saying that the people in Fairy Tale are always causing trouble. Even if the guild leader forgives, I won't forgive you either. Maybe she knows about Huckleberry Hill, Kana said with a drink. A lot of sweat oozes from Macau's forehead. It's miserable, I will be killed by her. Kana. Erza turned to look at Kana, who was drinking from a barrel, and criticized him by name. Do you drink like this? Beasta. Yes. If you want to dance, go outside and dance. Wakaba. The butt of the cigarette fell to the ground. Nabu. Are you still just dangling in front of the bulletin board? Go and work for me. Macau. Alas, one by one doesn't give me peace of mind every day. Lucy asked Mirajane next to her in a low voice, is Miss Erza a member of the discipline committee? Happy popped out affirmatively. This is Erza. Erza reprimanded the group and asked again, are Natsu and Gray here? There. Natsu and Gray crossed their shoulders, and the latter said, hi. Erza, the two of us got along really well today. Natsu. How did Natsu become like, happy? Lucy groaned. Seeing this, Erza nodded lightly. Really? Even good friends occasionally quarrel, but I really like to see you two get along in harmony like this. You are doing well. Not so good either, Gray said. Ah. Natsu. Lucy was stunned. I've never seen Natsu like this. Mila next to him said, because Natsu had previously singled out Erza and was beaten to death. Gray got naked and was caught by her when she was shaking, and she was beaten to death. Loki was beaten half to death for trying to pursue Erza. Macau and Kana also talked about the guild's embarrassment one after another. After speaking, Kana remembered a person and shouted to the second floor, Dieter. Someone is after Erza, don't you care? Huh? Erza immediately woke up, looking at Kana and asking, Dieter? Isn't he at Harjin? Allah, Mila said with a smile, I just came back a few days ago. Upstairs. Dong dong dong. Dieter slowly came to the edge of the second floor, looked down at Erza and said hello with a smile. Yo, long time no see Erza. You are still as handsome as ever. You bastard. Erza cursed. Grabbing the right hand, the weapon appeared in his hand and slashed towards the second floor, insulting. You know how to come back. Hack you to death. Boom boom, there was a crackling sound of fighting on the second floor. Loki, where are you going? Just when Kana said that Loki was pursuing Erza, Loki himself had already taken light steps and slowly moved outside to escape from here. But Dieter's voice came from behind. The shocked Loki trembled. Big brother Dieter, listen to my sophistry. Ah no. Listen to my explanation. Hee. I just haven't come back for a few years, you are brave enough. Dieter sneered, his body instantly appeared behind Loki, and he clenched his fists and aimed at Loki. Boom. The guild buildings rumbled and trembled, and dust fell from the eaves. Loki escaped and swallowed involuntarily when he looked at the big hole smashed out of the ground, and said in a trembling voice, Brother Dieter, I'm new here and I don't know if Erza is. Erza fell from the second floor, blushing and staring at Dieter viciously. Seeing that the situation is not good, Loki immediately changed the topic. Miss Erza, why do you have lip prints on your face? Stunned. Just as Dieter was about to continue chasing after Loki, his body was stunned and he quickly turned to look at Erza. Why didn't he remember such a trace? Erza's face flushed, and he quickly raised his hand to wipe it in a panic. Ha ha ha. Loki took the opportunity to escape. I lied to you. Murderous look. Loki felt too strong killing intense. He swallowed and ran away immediately. The guild is very quiet. Erza's actions just now showed that the two of them were really tricky when they were on the second floor. No one dared to speak. Cough cough. Erza cleared his throat and looked at Dieter in embarrassment. I wanted to ask Natsu and Gray, but since you're back, come with me. Everyone in the guild was very curious. Erza said. When I was on a mission, I heard a troublesome thing. I should have consulted the president before asking the president to make a decision, but I think it's better to solve it early. I need your help. The people in the guild were stunned. This is the first time that Miss Erza needs someone else's help. Didn't you find out who you were looking for? Dieter. That was the first person to become an S-rank mage 5 years ago. It's over. Are Erza and Dieter teaming up to destroy the world? Erza ordered. We will leave tomorrow. Go back and prepare. Oh, Dieter replied. Everyone glanced back and forth at Erza and Dieter, with a strong sense of shock. Mirajane is also very serious. Erza and Dieter team up. This is probably the first time in history. Many years ago, the two of them joined forces to destroy demons without becoming an S-class wizard. Now this. Hiss. Hiss. The newcomers in the guild don't know what happened to the two of them before. At this moment, I heard Mirajane say that before becoming an S-rank magician, 2 people are enough to destroy demons. Now that they are teaming up again, it is not an exaggeration to say that they are going to destroy the world. Erza and Dieter are gone. 2 people may go out on a date, or they may go home to pack their bags. But the 2 people teaming up has not disappeared, and the members of the guild are still immersed in this unprecedented cooperation. Over there Gray and Natsu looked at each other, secretly hiding in the corner without knowing what malicious purpose was being discussed. Lucy followed curiously to check. The next day. Magnolia Station. Dieter blocked the entrance of the alley, grinning at the 3 people and 1 cat who were shivering inside. Whoops. Not far away, Erza pulled a car towards this side, and the passers-by at the station were talking about it. You. Watching Erza pulling a load of luggage, Dieter gave a thumbs up in tears. Why are you here? Didn't you say you should meet in the waiting hall? Erza asked with a smile. Dieter shrugged and pointed to the situation in the alley. Erza stepped forward and looked. Suddenly his whole face darkened. Gray, Natsu, why are you here? Inside the alley. The 3 of them shivered, and they were Natsu, Gray, Lucy, and Happy, who were trying to sneak up. Ha ha ha. Gray scratched his head in embarrassment. What a coincidence, we were just about to go on a mission, but I didn't expect to meet here. Yeah, Natsu agreed. Lucy could only smile awkwardly. F*K off. It's really worrying. Of course Erza couldn't believe it, and scolded. Come on. On the train. Vomit. So uncomfortable. I want to vomit. Gray looked at the uncomfortable Natsu and sneered. Really, this unpromising guy, he's just doing his best before finding someone to fight. Lucy looked at Natsu and said, he's always like this, so pitiful. Dieter, who was between Gray and Natsu, looked at him and asked, Natsu, do you need my help? Please. Natsu said. Lucy wondered what Big Brother Dieter was going to do. I saw Big Brother Dieter wrapping his arms around Natsu's shoulders and clenching his fist with the other hand. Without a word, it was a blow to Natsu. Boom. Natsu fainted immediately. Big Brother, you. Lucy was stunned. She thought Big Brother Dieter had some powerful moves that would make Natsu better, but unexpectedly, he was knocked out with just 1 punch. Erza. What are you and Dieter going to do now? Gray asked. Erza nodded. Our opponent this time is the Dark Guild Eisenwald. They seem to be planning to use a magic called Lullaby to do bad things. Lullaby? Lucy and Gray and Happy exclaimed. Erza looked at Dieter. Dieter yawned and said, we've met a few wizards before, and they were talking about Lullaby, but they were rescued before we could ask. He's a guy who uses shadow magic, and it's hard to deal with. That shadow has no substance. Erza nodded. Really? It seems that the people you met should be from the Eisenwald Guild. Gray recalls. They mentioned Lullaby at that time, and it turned out to be premeditated. Lucy analysis. Lullaby, the meaning of lullaby, since it is sealed, it means that it is a very powerful thing. At this time Dieter began to say, Aragorn, this person is said to be the ace in Eisenwald, specializing in the commissioned work of the assassination department, so some people call it Aragorn. Lucy repeated the title of Death God. Even though he didn't know the details, he knew that this person was definitely not to be messed with. So you mean we're going to the gym? Dieter asked. Erza nodded. Although I don't know what they are going to do, it's definitely not a good thing. It's still a bit risky to deal with a guild person by myself. I thought it would be enough to bring Dieter with you, but I didn't expect Gray and you to come too. Gray hurriedly said. Natsu suggested this. He wanted to follow you to join in the fun. I was just forced to follow. Lucy kept smiling. To say that she is innocent, but she was forcefully pulled over just by overhearing 2 words. At this time, Dieter got up from the table and looked towards the carriage ahead. Dieter, what are you doing? Erza asked. Dieter smiled innocently, looked at Erza and the others and said, I found the shadow of saving people at that time. Great. Erza and the others all widened their eyes. Silently following Dieter's footsteps, he walked towards the front carriage. Inside the car, Dieter stood directly in front of someone, watching him silently. Huh. Get the hell out of here, don't disturb me in the sun, said Kageyama in the seat. Boom. Then it was Dieter's kick in response. Stomping on his face and crushing the seat, knocking him to the ground of the car, unable to move. You. This guy. Who is it? Kageyama, caught off guard by the sudden attack, reached out and grabbed the sole of Dieter's foot on his face, puzzled. Dieter smiled and replied, Don't know me. Didn't you see me when you rescued a few people in the forest outside Shiloh's store? After hearing this, Kageyama suddenly stopped struggling. Where's Lullaby? Dieter asked, crouching down on his face. Whizzing. Suddenly, several shadow attacks stabbed from under Kageyama in all directions. Dieter had to let go of his stomping face to avoid it. He seized the opportunity to quickly distance himself, watching everyone in front of him fix their eyes on Dieter's right shoulder. Hee hee, fairy tale. Kageyama sneered. Just when everyone thought this guy was going to fight, suddenly Kageyama hit the train window and tried to escape. Pity. Dieter's arms stretched out and grabbed the back of his neck and pulled him back. The people behind were shocked. What the hell is that? How can human arms become so long? Gray stared at Dieter's arm as if confirming something. Big brother Dieter's arm. Lucy covered his mouth and looked at Dieter's back in surprise. It was definitely not a hallucination just now. It meant that brother Dieter's arms suddenly became longer and could be retracted. Dieter, you. Erza wasn't surprised. I haven't seen him fight for a few years. How has his skills changed again? If it was a human worry before, it's basically not a human now. Even magic doesn't have this type. The arm can be lengthened. It's amazing, isn't it? My body can also become very big, you will know later. Dieter didn't explain. He smiled to reassure several people, and then he refocused on the guy who was caught by him. Don't worry, you just need to take us to your guild and I can guarantee you will survive, Dieter said. Kageyama swallowed and nodded. Although I was a little upset, I still decided to agree. I wondered if these people were going to play in the gym. Is it a little too arrogant? They are members of a whole guild, and these people still want to carry the whole guild? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Eisenwald is not a simple guild, it is full of mages who have killed people. Lead the way. Dieter gave the order. Kageyama reluctantly agreed. Let these guys know the consequences of offending the Eisenwald members when they arrive at the location. Oshibana Station. Are you sure it's here? Dieter grabbed Kageyama to the door of the station's tallest building. Yes, the place where we assembled is here, and everyone in Eisenwald should have assembled. Kageyama fought back his inner ecstasy. As long as you go in, you can meet all the people in their guild, and then these guys will die. Haha. Dieter sneered. In fact, of course he knew that the so-called lullaby was on Kageyama's body, but he was not in a hurry. The thing had to be found in a safe enough place to be released. This station is clearly not suitable, so I had to let this Kageyama go in the next extermination operation, and let him go to the place where the president held a regular meeting, and eliminate that thing again. Then lead the way. Dieter pressed Kageyama and led Erza and the others towards the building. I also saw some downed military personnel on the road, which showed that they were ready to meet everything. Pay attention to safety after entering, find an opponent that is similar to yourself, and leave it to me and Dieter. Erza instructed. Gray and Lucy both nodded, and Natsu was still suffering. Hee hee hee, you really came, the flies of fairy tale. Just entered the main hall. The head of the black doll in front of him filled the entire hall with 1/3 of the space of the battle. They all looked at Dieter and the others with half smiles, like sheep like tigers, which could be devoured by tigers at any time. Ding. Sign in to the Eisenwald Guild and reward 10 skill points. Dieter was about to speak. The words in his mind are updated. The new check-in location has arrived, and he still gives him 10 skill points. Added to the ability of the rubber fruit. Thinking silently in his heart, Dieter continued to upgrade the devil fruit ability without saying a word. Looking back at Aragorn, who was floating in the air in front of him. Stinky boy, you're Aragorn, you look like a ghost with a killer mat, Dieter asked. Erza, the fairy queen. I have heard of you. It is rumored that you are the strongest wizard in the fairy guild. I don't know if you can take a blow from me. Aragorn ignores the talking Dieter and sets his eyes on Erza. Rao is the ace of the Dark Guild, and he has also heard the name of the fairy queen Erza. What's your purpose? Do you want to use lullaby for bad things? Erza asked. Aragorn has both hands. The gust of wind swept across the entire hall in an instant. Blowing Erza and others can only cover their eyes. Dieter raised his foot and kicked Kageyama out of his hand. He knew that it was time to fight. If Kageyama was accidentally killed, no one would bring lullaby to the regular meeting. The gust of wind seemed to be targeting Kageyama only, and stopped after he had rescued him. You still don't understand. Here, to shut up. Aragorn was about to announce his grand plan when Dieter stepped forward, staring at Aragorn. Alright, anyway, you will all be killed here, it doesn't matter if you know it or not. Aragorn flew higher. I'll leave it to you next, let them taste the power of the Dark Guild. Whoosh. The voice fell, and Dieter, who had been standing at the front, suddenly disappeared. Only the dust stirred up after leaving is left. How can it be? Aragorn gasped out in shock. How could the person who was still in sight disappear in an instant, and even he couldn't capture the figure? Am I allowing you to go? The sound itself followed. Aragorn reacted immediately, and the magic that manipulated the wind wanted to flash away. Boom. But Dieter's speed was not something a little Aragorn could dodge. A punch hit him. Aragorn, who was still arrogant at first, was hit and exploded from the air, falling toward the ground. Boom. The smoke was flying. Aragorn fell to the ground, and the pain on his face made his face even more hideous. Mr. Aragorn. Boom. Kageyama immediately turned to support. But a flaming fist slammed out at him, blocking his path abruptly. Who allowed you to support? With his hands on fire, Natsu confronted Kageyama. Gray and Erza are also not slow. One uses the ice-shaped magic, and the other holds the magic sword and rushes into the crowd. Despite the large number of Eisenwald members. But for the Fairy Tale Guild, the more enemies they fight, the more excited they will be. Damn it. Aragorn jumped into the air again, and Dieter faced each other and looked at each other. Come on, since you are Eisenwald's ace, let me try your hand. Dieter had his pockets in his pockets and kept his figure floating in the air with a burst of air from his feet from time to time, his eyes fixed on Aragorn. The full 10th level of the 6th type of the Navy, in fact, regardless of its power or function, has long been out of the rules of the pirate world. Therefore, it is not difficult to use the moonstep to float in the air and sit up. Who the hell are you guys? Aragorn didn't attack without authorization, and his brain was spinning so fast that he had never heard of such a person in fairy tale. Me. Just a guy who likes to fish, Dieter laughed. The figure brought layers of afterimages to Aragorn, and the speed was even 3 points faster than before. Magic Wind Palm. Aragorn casts magic in front of him without saying a word. At this time, Dieter also happened to appear, just in time to meet Aragorn head-on. Hey, go to hell. A strong tornado rolled up in Aragorn's palm and blasted towards the target. Big Brother Dieter. Lucy at the back hurriedly exclaimed and wanted to remind. However, Erza responded, Don't worry, Dieter doesn't deserve to be an S-rank mage if he is injured by this magic. Lucy stared. I saw that the tornado instantly drowned Dieter's figure. However, there was a figure in the gust of wind, but it was still advancing, unaffected by the tornado at all. Tornado? That's it. Dieter pursed his nose, and the figure in the gust of wind raised his hands as if grabbing something, and hissed violently to the sides. That Aragorn's tornado was actually torn apart alive. How is that possible? You can shred my magic. Aragorn was shocked. He had never heard of anyone who could do it to this extent. Trash. It's time to end. Dieter said coldly, his body moved forward, but his legs sank like a spring. A wave of heat spread from the feet to the body. The whole person's skin was red and somewhat shiny, and the body was full of white-hot smoke, and a powerful force recovered from the body. Stronger again. Erza also felt the rising power in Dieter's body after wielding the magic sword to chop down the enemy in front of him. Happy muttering. At the same time, it also attacks quickly, and the desire to become stronger in the heart is more intense. Can't be pulled too far by Dieter. Boom. Suddenly, there was a terrifying scene in the battle situation that Lucy was concerned about. When Dieter, whose body was smoking, walked towards Aragorn step by step, Aragorn seemed to be hit by power. The body suddenly bowed and flew out, but in her eyes, Dieter didn't make a move at all. However, a sudden distraction. Dieter, who was locked by her gaze, disappeared and reappeared behind Aragorn, who was flying backwards. Arms dropped. Then Aragorn was hit by an unknown force again. The huge impact made that guy have no resistance at all. Gone again. Lucy exclaimed again, twice in a row. Big Brother Dieter's figure disappeared and reappeared in an instant. After each appearance, Aragorn is blown away by the force. 6 styles razor. Dieter's voice sounded slowly, and in that instant, Dieter's figure never appeared again. And Aragorn's body has been hit back and forth by invisible forces. His body is constantly being ravaged in midair, and the impact of the attack simply cannot allow him to use even the slightest power. What the hell is going on? Lucy was stunned. The speed was so fast that she couldn't even see a human figure. Could this be Brother Dieter's true strength? The speed is too fast. Even if I can only capture the silhouette, if I can't see the face clearly, it will disappear again. Erza didn't know when to stand beside him. Just like Lucy, Aragorn watched as he kept getting hit in the air. Really? Big Brother Dieter? Lucy's scalp is numb, and the kindness of Big Brother Dieter has never reached this level? She couldn't see it at this speed. Listening to Miss Erza's words, it seems that she can't see the way and trajectory of the attack clearly? The same S-rank wizard, how can he be so strong? Yeah. Dieter is a wizard recognized by the president. His potential is even higher than that of the president. Every once in a while, he will find that Dieter's strength has become stronger, Erza said. Lucy is also deeply aware of Dieter's strength. Dieter's figure didn't disappear this time. He came to the top of Aragorn's head and looked at the body that was shot up from below, his right fist clenched tightly. It's time to end. 6 types of profound truth, 6 King's Spear. There seemed to be a powerful thruster behind him, pushing Dieter's body in an instant, hitting Aragorn's chest with his fist. It was a moment that clearly felt the fist sink into Aragorn's chest. The surrounding bones had been shattered by the impact. Boom. After hitting Aragorn, the strength of his fall is increased again, and the speed of almost the speed of sound will insert him into the ground. The entire building was shaken with cracks by this force. A few rubble fell from the sky. The building also turned into a dilapidated building that could collapse at any time at this moment. It's amazing. Lucy was surprised, but he couldn't help laughing when he looked at the cracked building. But this is too much. Happy, responded with a grin. Good. It's amazing. Natsu and Gray also didn't know when they had joined the spectator team. Looking at Dieter's powerful strength, Natsu couldn't hide the urge to fight in his eyes. Can't wait to rush over and fight Dieter right away. Natsu, where is your enemy? Dieter left the half-dead Aragorn and saw that Erza and the others had stopped fighting. He couldn't help but search around, but couldn't find the guy named Kageyama. What? Hey! Why is it gone? I was still here just now. Why did it suddenly disappear? Several people were very puzzled. They searched among the group of people who were knocked down in the hall, but couldn't find where they were going after searching for a long time. Idiot. Dieter couldn't help covering his forehead. That lullaby should be on Kageyama. Now that he has escaped, the danger has not been lifted. Fool. Erza was furious and hit Natsu in the face with a fist. It hurts. In the end, Natsu was very aggrieved and covered his face in pain. Dieter fought so hard, I was so fascinated by it that I accidentally forgot. Ha 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 ha. At this time, Aragorn, who was half dead on the ground, suddenly laughed. Aragorn, immediately say what you want to do, isn't it playing that thing at the station? Erza asked angrily. Aragorn is already half dead, and there is no possibility of escaping, but his laughter is still rampant, and he said slyly, to attract you here, I just want to block you from here in the terminal ahead. After talking about this, Dieter took the words, traffic between Clover Station is on the other side of the Daxi Valley, and there is no other way to travel except on this light rail. And at the end of Clover Station is the place where the guild leaders hold their regular meetings. Hiss. Erza and the others were shocked. The brain was spinning rapidly and immediately figured out who the target of the Dark Guild Eisenwald was. No, hurry up and chase. Erza turned his head and ran, sweat dripping from his forehead. Once Lullaby sounded there, the presidents were really in danger. Natsu, hurry up. Gray and Lucy followed immediately. Dieter walked in no hurry, came to Aragorn and looked down at him. Why don't you chase? Aragorn asked. Dieter said dismissively, I knew Lullaby was on him from the moment I saw Kageyama. What? Aragorn exclaimed. How can it be? Watching Dieter's scalp go numb, he knew everything and didn't even care about letting Kageyama go. What is the purpose? Could his chances fail? Do not. Absolutely impossible, he denied. Impossible, since you know that thing is on Kageyama. Why didn't you deal with it earlier, and didn't even care about Kageyama's departure at all? Dieter crouched down and put his palm on Aragorn's head, because I can kill demons. Boom boom, the building that turned into a dilapidated house trembled again. Dust and rubble shook off the roof, burying Aragorn in the ground. Dieter wiped the blood from his palms and left. Fairy tale does not kill people. This statement is invalid for him. He will not give the enemy any chance to start over. The enemy should be cut to the ground, outside the gate. Dieter, why are you so slow, in a car? Erza was waiting in the driver's seat, and everyone else was ready to go. Sorry. Come here. Dieter smiled and hurried into the car. Erza also started the magic 4x4 and set off immediately. Followed quickly along the driveway. Crowbar Town. Inside the jungle outside the regular meeting of the president. Okay. At this distance enough to make Lullaby's flute sound all over the land, this moment has finally come. Kageyama leaned against the tree trunk and looked at the meeting place of the guild leader below. I am very pleased. It was finally coming, and the Eisenwald finally waited for hope. Ha. This girl and this girl are both very good looking. Just as Kageyama was about to play his flute, Makarov's lewd teasing sound came from behind him. He was checking a girl's newspaper. Kageyama trembled with fright, turning his head to look at the old man with his back to him. Recently, mages are getting better and better both in appearance and inward, and photo girls are the best, Makarov said slyly. Suddenly, Makarov jumped off the stone and muttered, No. I don't have time to look at this kind of thing, I have to find those guys quickly. Stepping forward, he suddenly turned his head and panicked. Wow, who are you? A flustered explanation. No. This is also a kind of learning, and there is nothing to be ashamed of. Kageyama sighed awkwardly and complained, You don't have to make excuses for yourself. After seeing the bandage on his body, Makarov asked, Where are you a patient? What are you trying to do in a place like this? Kageyama hurriedly said, No. Just as he was about to make excuses, he found out that the little old man in front of him was Makarov, the president of the Fairy Tale Guild. I really have a relationship with these flies. Seeing that Makarov wanted to leave, he immediately stopped that. Makarov turned his head. Kageyama said, May I ask you to listen to me play a piece of music? Because the hospital prohibits our patients from playing instruments, sigh. I'm in a hurry, so I can only hear you play one song, Makarov said. Okay. Kageyama breathed a sigh of relief, putting his hands on the flute, just listen carefully. It's almost over. I think it's nothing more than a regular guild. Even though his ability is so low, he still bosses us. It's a revenge against the wizarding world that locked us in the dark world and deprived us of our lives. Kageyama thought of the various words of his guildmates. Yes. This is a kind of revenge for the magic world, and I joined the Dark Guild for this. Take a deep breath. Kageyama is going to play the flute. It's there. At a high point, Dieter and others locked Kageyama's position. Shish. Just as Erza and the others were about to attack, a voice suddenly sounded behind them. Several people turned around immediately. I saw a strange bald man appear behind him. Who are you? Hey. I feel so uncomfortable. Lucy rubbed the goose bumps on his arms, not daring to get too close to the strange person in front of him. Be polite. This is President Bob, Dieter said, sitting on the rock. President Bob looked at Dieter and said, You are Dieter that Makarov said, right? You are such a cute baby. Huh? This person is the president of Blue Pegasus. Lucy was surprised. Dieter yawned and looked at Kageyama, who was about to play the flute. Makarov said at this time, Nothing will change. Weak people are weak at all times, but not all weaknesses are bad. Because human beings are weak creatures, they will be very uneasy alone, so they need guilds, and they also need partners. In order to survive, they need to support each other. Clumsy people are always more likely to encounter bottlenecks than others. Maybe it will also take a long way. However, as long as you believe that there is a tomorrow in your heart, your strength will come up if you take a brave step, and you can live with a smile. You don't need such a flute at all. Kageyama's hands trembled, and the flute in his hand fell to the ground. He fell to his knees, weeping bitterly. I admit defeat. Here. With smiles on Erza and the others' faces, they ran towards President Makarov. It looks like a child running towards its parents. Aren't you coming? Bob's flaming mouth opens and closes. It's not over yet. Dieter shook his head. He was waiting for the demon to appear, and it was a little early to be happy now. It's so cute, President Bob laughed. Erza and the others also chatted happily when they arrived in front of the president and told what happened when they came. Ho 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 ho. The ocarina of curse on the ground suddenly burst out with black smoke. It was accompanied by gloomy laughter. It's so ridiculous. It's all about some unworthy mages. Purple thunder arcs and black smoke floated into the air, and a huge magic circle enveloped a large mountain range. The thunder arc ripped apart the earth and destroyed some flowers, plants and trees. Then. What is that? Something is coming out. What's the matter? What happened? Air. The thunder arc destroyed the earth wantonly, and the harsh thunder made the soldiers who came under the order show a painful expression. I can't stand it anymore. Let me just eat you all. Boom. The huge demon limbs smashed the ground, and the earthquake made countless people stand unsteady. The agitated gravel flew all over the sky. The achievements of the regular meetings have been shaken and there are obvious signs of collapse. The tall demon has 3 eyes and looks down at all the creatures on the ground. I must eat your souls, said the demon. Below Lucy exclaimed, how can it be so big? Happy complained. I actually complained about this. With sweat on his forehead, Kageyama looked at the giant guy and asked, who is this guy? I never knew there was such a thing. The president of Blue Pegasus covered his smiling mouth. Oh, it's not good. The president of Quattro Cerberus looked at the giant demon and responded, it's the demon in the Zarif book. Why did the flute turn into a monster? Lucy wondered. Dieter came up from behind, looked at the giant guy and said, this monster is Lullaby itself. This is a living magic, which is Zarif's magic. The devil just stood there, giving people a feeling of invincibility. Even the presidents of the small guilds fled in a hurry, and there are only a few presidents left behind. Natsu, Gray, get everyone away, Erza ordered. Natsu is not happy. Why do you treat me so bossy? Gray answered. The next second Erza's eyes narrowed, please. Hey hey hey. Natsu and Gray immediately agreed. Run away quickly. Don't be afraid of huge monsters, give them all to me. Fiore's soldiers gave encouraging orders one by one, and all of them attacked the monster. The monster roared. Retreat all for me, nobodies. He raised his head high, and a huge magic circle appeared in front of his mouth, and terrifying magic was brewing in the magic circle. Boom. Magic explosion. Rapidly blasted towards the mountain where the soldiers were. Roar. I saw the monster's magic smashed a mountain in an instant, and the whole mountain disappeared in an instant. Explosion, destruction. After the magic disappeared, no one could see the trace of the mountain, and Fiore's soldiers panicked. Captain, the whole mountain is gone, the soldier exclaimed. The captain panicked. What? Hurry. Retreat. All the soldiers fled without their helmets and armor. The difference in strength made them have no courage to resist at all. Okay. I've decided. I have all the souls of you sorcerers, the demon said. Below Natsu retorted unhappily. This is interesting, if you have the kind, come and eat it. Erza, Gray and others are ready to fight as if they are facing a big enemy. Mom and Chirp, if you don't go up, I'll go up. At this time, Dieter stepped forward with a face full of impatience, disappearing before anyone else could react. When he reappeared, he was already in front of the demon's head. Second gear rubber jet pistol. Pung! The devil is hit. The body swayed back 2 steps, but there was no substantial damage. It's a bit powerful. If the second gear doesn't work, then the third gear. Dieter was suspended in the air, looking at the demon who only took 2 steps back, but also a little bit of energy. Bite your fist and blow. In an instant, the arm was blown so big that it was similar to the devil's head. It's amazing. Big brother Dieter seems to be able to deal with this demon alone. Lucy was pleasantly surprised below. The presidents of other guilds sighed. It's a bit powerful, Makarov, is this the kid with great potential you said? How can the arm become so big, is it giant magic? I don't know how powerful it is. It's fast enough, but if it's not powerful enough, it can't beat this demon. Interesting. The presidents all asked. Makarov also puffed out his chest and said triumphantly. Dieter's power is stronger than you think, just wait and see, and you'll know how powerful he is in a while. Air. Third speed rubber giant pistol. The huge arm was swung by Dieter and slammed into the demon's head. Boom. The demon was slapped in the face, and his body was tilted to the ground. The devil is not a weak guy, and he immediately retreated hastily, dissolving the remaining force that might overwhelm him. Although embarrassed, he did not fall. I'm going to eat your soul. The demon roared. It didn't know what to do, and all the flowers and trees on the ground withered and lost their vitality. Dieter wouldn't let it go on. The body flickered to the top of the demon's head in an instant, and the huge fist fell from the sky, carrying the gust of wind. That power and might is also extraordinary. Third speed rubber giant rocket launcher. Boom. Stronger power and greater destructive power are enough to smash the bones of all huge creatures. Bombard the devil's head. The demon didn't move, its body sank instantly, and the earth was cracked by this force, and the cracks spread all over the surrounding earth, as if it was terrifying like a huge meteor hitting the ground. Caw-caw, on the devil's head, at the intersection of the fist and the head, 3 cracks appeared, extending downward. The extension is slow, but it was soon shrouded in the body, and the shock crack was enough to show that the demon could not withstand this powerful blow. Boom. The huge demon's body cracked, and the dead tree fell like rubble. It also stirred up layers of ashes when it hit the ground. The spectators below were stunned and shocked. Seeing that the arrogant demon was so vulnerable just now, the thought of, I can do it too, rose in my heart, but it was quickly suppressed. Just think about it, but don't make a fool of yourself. In addition to being shocked, the presidents of the major guilds whispered. I didn't expect Fairy Tail to have such a character, and it didn't take long from beginning to end to kill that enemy. It's really powerful. The president of the Blue Pegasus Guild sighed. The president of Quattro Cerberus looked at Dieter, who was slowly falling in the air with sunglasses, and praised. It's amazing, his strength is already comparable to that of the presidents of a few small guilds. No one expected him to have such a powerful strength. Who said no? It feels like it's impossible for me to kill that demon so easily. This little brother has unlimited future. The presidents of the major guilds made no secret of their praise. Full of praise for Dieter. This made Makarov so happy that he pinched his waist and laughed. Ha ha ha, it's okay, he still has a lot to learn. The look in Dieter's eyes was even more gratifying. He is really getting stronger and stronger, and this strength is probably not weaker than Lagos's, even a lot stronger. Comparing with Gear Das. Maybe it's still close, but it's not much, and his strength will increase exponentially in the future. It's amazing, Brother Dieter is so amazing, I just thought that the devil is not something we can deal with, Lucy said. The demon, who saw pieces everywhere in his eyes, was also surprised. Brother Dieter's strength seems to be many times better than he imagined, and the scene just now was really shocking. Dieter is amazing. Erza also exclaimed. She, who had known Dieter since childhood, was also surprised by his strength. Every time I see him making a move, it can make people's eyes shine, and the strength and combat effectiveness are countless times stronger than the last time I saw him. This power is truly astounding. It's amazing, I'm burning. Venus bloomed in Natsu's eyes, the temperature on his body was rising, and he wanted to fight Dieter immediately. That formidable strength also made him unable to hold back his hot heart. Although Gray didn't speak, he could also see the admiration in his eyes. Fall from the sky. Dieter walked towards Erza comfortably as well. It's been a long time since I moved my body, and I feel a lot more comfortable, Dieter said. After coming to Erza's side, he watched the shattered demon corpse slowly disappear, and he had a more accurate understanding of his own strength in his heart. Beyond S-rank mages, in the entire guild, except for Gear Das and the guild leader, no one else is an opponent. The only pity is that the lethality is still somewhat unsatisfactory. The change of the rubber fruit is very strong, and the Navy 6th form is not weak either. But it is still a little difficult to integrate the two. The key can have 3-color domineering, then the 4th gear of the rubber fruit can be an attacking weapon. Good job, Dieter kid. Makarov smiled and led the other guild presidents forward, his face full of radiance, and he was praised by others. Hello everyone. Dieter nodded politely to say hello to the guild leaders. They all nodded in satisfaction. Master, is your regular meeting over? Should we go back? It's getting late after all. Dieter asked Makarov, looking at him. The latter nodded. Yes, let's take a day off here tonight, and we'll go back tomorrow. Dieter smiled in agreement. Take Erza and the others towards the town, ready to take a good rest for a day here, and go back tomorrow. Makarov also took the guild leaders to their resting place. The guild was as lively as ever. Several days have passed since the Eisenwald incident, and Dieter and the others have already returned to the guild. Dieter didn't go fishing these days, nor did he do any quests. Being a kind and beautiful man in the guild, constantly coexisting with Mirajane and Erza, how can fishing or something be compared to the beauty? On the front desk, with a cane in his hand, Makarov sat without saying a word, his body wobbly trying to fall asleep. So sleepy, Makarov muttered. Looking at the gate, he rubbed his sleepy eyes and said, "Is that guy?" The originally noisy atmosphere of the guild gradually became silent. Many members couldn't help yawning, holding their chins and heads bit by bit, wanting to fall asleep. Puff dong dong. As the drowsiness became more intense, the guild members fell to the ground and fell asleep one after another. In a few moments, there are only a few guild members left. A figure slowly appeared at the door, and a man who was tightly wrapped with several magic wands walked in. Mistogen. Use hypnotic magic every time you come back. Looking at the guy who was wrapped with only eyes left, Makarov drank with a glass of wine. Next to him, Dieter turned the table and chair, turned his head to look at Mistogen who came in, and joked with a smile. Mistogen, are you ugly? Why are you wrapped so tightly, and you dare not let the people in the guild see you? Mistogen glanced at Dieter, walked over to the commission bar, tore up the task, and turned away. Remember to unlock the magic, Dieter said. Mistogen took a step. 5, 4, 1, people go. The people in the guild woke up one after another, rubbing their heads and frowning and looking around. Is this sudden sleep feeling Mistogen? It's that guy again. He looks like this every time he comes back. What a strange person. I didn't expect his magic to still be so powerful. I thought I haven't seen him for a while, and my strength has improved a lot. I didn't expect that I would still be unable to resist his hypnotic magic. The people in the guild spoke one after another. Obviously, he has a deep understanding of this situation and can know who it is in time. Lucy asked curiously, who is Mistogen? Elfman over there said earnestly, he is one of the strongest backups in Fairy Tail. Gray rubbed his head with depression on his face. I don't know why. Every time he appears, it makes people drowsy. In the entire guild, only the guild leader may have seen his true face. Dieter laughed without saying a word. No, I've seen it. At this time, from the second floor came a beating voice. The yellow-haired Lagoses leaned against the edge of the fence and looked at the crowd below. Lagoses, come and fight with me. Natsu immediately shouted when he saw the person, and demanded to fight him. Others were a little surprised, but they didn't expect Lagoses to be there. Lagoses, long time no see. I heard that you also became an S-rank mage a year after I left the guild. It seems that your level is not bad. Dieter greeted. The face of Lagoses upstairs changed dramatically. Sweeping over Dieter, his whole face was much gloomy, and he grinned coldly. Dieter, you are still as heartless as ever. As an S-rank magician, it's a shame to hang out with this group of weak chickens. Silent. The guild members were very quiet. Thinking what Lagoses said was very annoying, he frowned to express his displeasure. Don't go too far. Lagoses, Mirajane snapped. However, Lagoses upstairs didn't take it seriously at all, grinning and despising. A trash who retired because he couldn't use magic, he's not qualified to talk to me. Boom. As soon as the voice fell, the fence he was supporting was shattered. The figure of Lagoses turned into a flash of lightning and landed on the first floor, staring at Dieter drinking a drink with hazy eyes. Be careful when you speak, I'm the boss in the guild. Dieter drank his drink and turned to rest his elbows on the counter and look at him coldly. Forget about stealing your eldest brother's limelight, and speaking so rudely. Who gave you the courage to make you so arrogant? Dieter scolded. Lagoses's face was gloomy and uncertain. Dieter, you're courting death, he fumed. After hearing this, Dieter stood up from his position and walked towards Lagoses step by step. What are you doing? Lagoses asked coldly. Whoosh. Boom. Dieter's figure disappeared instantly. With one kick, Lagoses was kicked out, his arms blocked in front of him and his body hit the table, chairs and benches along the way and hit the wall. Remember, don't be so arrogant when I'm in the guild, Dieter said. Lagoses burst into anger and roared. Dieter, you are courting death. Anger. Quite angry. Lagosis's eyes were bloodshot, watching Dieter clench his teeth and clench his blue-veined fist. He was filled with strong magic power. The rubble that was knocked out of the wall was stirred up by the release of magic power. The momentum is rising. The atmosphere in the guild was very depressed. Dieter and Lagosis looked at each other, and neither let anyone else. This is the calm before the battle. Enough. Seeing that the atmosphere became more and more delicate, President Makarov scolded sharply. Chi, a defeated general must have the appearance of a defeated general. Dieter muttered and turned back to sit back in his seat, sipping his drink in silence. Ho ho. Lagosis clenched his fists and turned away from the guild, his teeth clucking. Big brother Dieter's eyes were scary just now, Lucy muttered. Gray next to him also shook his head. If Lagosis doesn't change his character, he will suffer one day. Today, the president is here. Otherwise, it will be bad for these two to fight. Dieter recovered quickly. It's just a small episode for Lagosis. He doesn't care about such trivial matters, as long as it doesn't involve him. When he was upset, he gave Lagosis a social beating. Hey. The original good mood was all disturbed by Lagosis. I went out fishing. Bye everyone. Dieter complained. Drinking 2 glasses of juice didn't improve the mood either. Muttering, he got up and left the guild, ready to go fishing. Come back early and don't run too far. Erza shouted from behind. Okay, Dieter replied. This day. Not good, President. Mirajane came down from the 2nd floor and looked at the president panting. What's up? Makarov was drinking. There is one less order for the 2nd floor, Mirajane said. Puff, Makarov spat out a sip of coffee. What? You said there was one less order on the 2nd floor. Aren't the orders on the 2nd floor all S-level tasks? Which idiot took that kind of thing? The members of the guild were very curious. S-level commissioned tasks could only be done by S-level mages, indicating that those tasks were very difficult. It's a cat. I saw a cat with wings ripped it off. Lagosis said with his legs crossed upstairs. It's happy, Mirajane exclaimed. That's Natsu and Lucy. They went out on their own to do S-class missions. Are they stupid? Lagosis laughed. This is a serious violation of the rules, old man. You will expel them from the guild when they come back, right? Then he laughed, shook his head and explained. But to challenge the S-rank mission with their 3-legged cat kung fu, I'm afraid there will be no return. Makarov asked. This is not good. Which order is it? It's the Cursed Island, Galuna Island, Mirajane said. Makarov was shocked. Everyone else in the guild was taken aback. Lagosis, go and bring them back, Makarov ordered. Upstairs Lagosis directly refused. Don't joke, I'm going to work next. There will always be someone in this guild to help you clean up the mess, right? Guild, yo. Good morning everyone. Makarov was about to retort when Dieter came in from outside with his breakfast and greeted him. When I noticed that the situation in the guild was not very good, I was very curious. Are you quarreling? After seeing Lagosis on the 2nd floor, he also joked. Master, is your grandson disobedient? You need my help to teach him a lesson. I am still very happy to help. Everyone in the guild was locked on Dieter. Makarov also looked at him and said, Dieter, Natsu and the others did S-class missions without authorization, you go and bring them back. Dieter came to a realization. Shaking his head, he said, if they set off last night, then this meeting may have already gone to sea, and maybe they will all be connected with the client of the mission. If they are caught, it will affect the reputation of our guild. Makarov said, but the S-level task is not something the 3 of them can do at all, and it will kill people. Well, then why don't I take this task and do it for him by the way? Dieter offered advice. Makarov still nodded after thinking. Well, this task is entrusted to you, pay attention to safety. There is no way to refuse. Considering Dieter's strength, it was no problem to go there. I'm with you, and if I come across Natsu, I'll help bring it back, Gray said. Dieter raised his eyebrows but didn't refuse. Let's go, it'll be time to get in the car early. Gray stepped forward. But Dieter grabbed his shoulder and muttered, how slow is the ride, brother will take you soaring into the sky today. Razor. Whoosh. Port capital, Harjin. This guy Dieter is still going shopping with me. Gray sat on the stool with his legs weak, thinking about the ups and downs along the way. Flying from Magnolia to Harjin, his legs were weak. After a short break Gray walked towards the pier to see if he could find Natsu or not. Dieter, on the other hand, continued to shop. Pier. Stop joking, I don't want to be near there. Forgive me, I don't even want to hear the name. No one around here wants to mention the island. It's cursed there, and there's nothing more ominous than that. I don't know what you are going to do, but no boatman wants to go there, even pirates will avoid it. Why? Lucy looked worried. Natsu was very happy and made a suggestion. Then it's decided, let's swim over. Lucy retorted angrily. Just tell you not to. At this time, a head popped up behind the two, finally found it. Ah. Natsu and Lucy immediately turned to look in shock. Gray. What are you running for? The two were busy asking. Gray said, you two have violated the rules by doing S-rank tasks without authorization. Now go back with me, or you will be expelled from the guild. Ah? Has it been revealed? Expulsion from the guild? The two were greatly disfigured. Natsu rolled his eyes immediately and suggested, Gray, this is an S-rank mission, don't you want to try it? How about we go together? Yes, let's go together. Lucy was also tempted. However, Gray sneered. Did you think the old man would send me? Dieter is here, Gray scoffed. It's over. Natsu lost his face. Lucy still held a glimmer of hope. If it's Big Brother Dieter, it should be fine. Drums in the heart. There might be hope if there's something nice to say to Big Brother Dieter. Ha ha. Sneering laughter sounded from behind. Dieter had come to the crowd. Dieter, help me. Happy, immediately flew to Dieter's shoulders to clear himself. I was pulled over by the two of them, and I didn't want to. Dieter didn't respond. Eyes swept over Natsu and Lucy, making both of them a little uncomfortable. Happy, Natsu, and Lucy have seriously violated the rules, and there is still hope that they will be forgiven when they go back, otherwise you will be expelled from Fairy Tail in the future. Dieter said. Hiss, hiss, hiss. The three of them breathed a sigh of relief. Big Brother Dieter. I was wrong. Lucy pretended to be aggrieved. Natsu also smiled awkwardly. Ha. Ha ha. I'm just joking. I didn't perform the S-rank mission without authorization. If it were Gray, of course, he wouldn't admit it. The strength of the two men is also comparable, but Dieter's words are still fine. Can't beat it. Gray, take Natsu and Lucy back to the guild, I'll take over this task now. Dieter ordered. Lucy and Natsu and Happy all stared. I was a little excited and wanted to follow him, but because of the identity of the guild, I did not dare to speak. He had to keep winking at Gray next to him. Gray remained silent, and pondered. Brother Dieter, I think this mission is more dangerous. It is inevitable that you will encounter some small ants, and it will annoy you if you think about it, so I will decide which small ants to leave to us. Gray was serious. But from the time he shouted, Brother Dieter, I could tell that he was soft-spoken and said good things. Yeah. Brother Dieter will definitely not waste time with those little ants, just leave it to us. Natsu nodded obediently. Lucy is even more cute and well-behaved. Ha ha. Dieter squeezed out 2 words without a smile. He turned his head to look at the boatman on the shore and asked, We are mages, and we have already taken over the mission S, the Cursed Island, Galuna Island. Can your boat carry so many people? Bobo responded immediately. Yes, everyone, please get on the boat. Natsu and the others all had excited smiles on their faces, and they were all very happy. On board. Lucy, my shoulders are a little uncomfortable. Dieter opened his mouth while sitting on the boat. Lucy stepped forward immediately. Okay, Brother Dieter, I'll give you a shoulder pinching. My shoulder pinching technique is very good. Dieter nodded and said, Gray, I want to eat popsicles. You don't know anything about Brother Dieter. My dream was to be a popsicle seller. I'm very experienced. Gray immediately used magic to create a popsicle. Natsu, I want to eat grilled fish. I heard that Happy has a lot of fish in his backpack. Dieter looks at Natsu and Happy while eating the popsicles. Happy looked reluctant, but still took out a fish from his backpack. Vag. I really want to vomit. Natsu felt the shaking of the boat, paralyzed in the boat and couldn't use any strength. Obviously there was no way to help make grilled fish. What's the use of you? Dieter rolled his eyes. Enjoying Lucy's shoulder rub. A popsicle in the left hand and a raw fish in the right, Dieter enjoyed it. My name is Bobo, and I used to be a resident of that Galuna Island. Seeing that the atmosphere had eased a lot, the boatman Popo also began to introduce his identity. I escaped from the Cursed Island, and disasters will also come to you. Going to that island is the consequence. Can you really lift this curse? Bobo continued. The cloak on his body was lifted, revealing his demonic arms. Crack the curse on this demon. Popo asked. Dieter took 2 glances before withdrawing his gaze, ignoring the diabolical arm. Uncle, your hand. Could it be that? Gray and Lucy stared blankly at the arm. I can see it already, Galuna Island. Bobo looked into the distance. Lucy and Gray also looked over. When he turned around again, the waves on the boat had disappeared. He jumped into the sea. Just don't worry about him, we will do our job well. Without waiting for the two to ask, Dieter responded proactively. Looking at the bubbling light from the top of the distant island is also a little ecstatic, and seeing such a bright light at night is also unique. Landing on the island. It's too late, let's spend the night on the shore today, and we'll go into the mountains tomorrow morning, Dieter suggested. Looking at the depths of black bloom, Lucy and Happy couldn't help shuddering. Both hands agreed with Dieter's proposal. Naturally, Natsu and Gray were well behaved, for fear that Dieter would be chased back by accident, and they would not be able to participate in such an interesting S-rank mission. It's daybreak. There is a village on this island. The client of the S-level mission is the village chief of this village. Let's go. Dieter stretched out the body he knocked down from sleep, and led Lucy and the others toward the village on the island. A tall fence was erected. The village is surrounded by a fence of 5 or 6 meters high, with the words, "No entry," hanging on it. It's here, but what is it? Gray looked puzzled at the large letters in front of him. Shout out. Dieter commanded with the order in his hand. Excuse me, please open the door, Lucy shouted in a crisp and clear voice. No response. It was as if the village was dead silent, and no one answered her call. Broken it? Natsu suggested with a grin. Lucy retorted, no way. Soon. A few figures with weapons appeared above the high fence. Who? Everyone looked up. The village on Galuna Island was hard to find, and they didn't find it until night, when they could only see people, and couldn't tell what anyone looked like. But Lucy still introduced his identity. We are from Fairy Tale, the Sorcerer's Guild. Figures above the fence communicate with each other. Again. We haven't heard that the commission has been accepted. Who are you? Lucy and the others were speechless. They secretly took the S-level mission, and they didn't send a letter from the president to explain the situation in time. At this time, Dieter said, yesterday when I went out to sea, I encountered a wave that overturned the carrier pigeon of the sound transmission. Suddenly, it was impossible to send the message again. Please open the door. The people above are discussing in a low voice again. After the exchange, he ordered again, show me your coat of arms. Gray lifted his clothes, Lucy raised his palms, Happy turned his back to the air, and Natsu and Dieter leaked the coat of arms from their shoulders. Oh. It's really them. Rumbling, the huge fence gate made a sensation, slowly rising to open the gate to the village. The two sides face each other. Welcome, I am Mocha, the village chief of this island. A group of villagers who covered themselves tightly stood in front of them, and the village chief Mocha introduced with a crescent scepter. Without waiting for Dieter and the others to speak, he turned to look at the villagers. First of all, please take a look at this. The villagers lifted the barriers on their bodies, revealing all kinds of bizarre limbs, and the half-human half-demon was very infiltrating. Like that Uncle Boatman. Gray's face was solemn. Natsu, as always unreliable, looked at the appearance of the village chief and complained, super long sideburns. The village chief gestured to his demon's arm and corrected. No, this is what I want you to see, even dogs and birds. All creatures on this island are under this curse. Dieter squeezed out of the trio. Glancing at the strangely shaped limbs on their bodies, he asked, what basis do you have to conclude that these are curses? Will there be memory fragments, etc.? In fact, you are demons or something. Lucy and the others' eyes widened. Some couldn't believe Dieter would say such a thing at this time. Impossible. We have asked a famous doctor to see it, and we are sure that this is definitely not our problem, and we can't find any symptoms of illness. Then there is only a curse, the curse of the moon god. Village long rebuttal. Seeing that they couldn't communicate, Dieter also nodded lightly. Okay, I understand. Help us prepare a room for rest. Let's defuse the curse. The village chief and others warmly began to entertain. The room is also the best room in the village, and depends on the residence of the village chief, so that they can come to consult in time if they have any questions. Prepare the room. The sad faces of Lucy and the others began to judge what happened in the village. Looking at the few people who communicated, Dieter felt a faint sense of superiority in his heart. Maybe this is the benefit of knowing the plot. He knew the reasons for these situations. The reason why he asked the village chief was just to let himself and others show his professionalism.